And also especially thanks to Carolina who got me here. I mean, she was just, she was the one who reached out, and she really made it possible. She just made it impossible for me to say no, basically.
Yay, thank you.
And she's been just such a fabulous hostess and now friend and true sister. Like, I feel like I've known her. In fact, I walk in the kitchen, they say this, and I'm like walking down the steps, and all of a sudden I have this vision, an awareness. I could see her in a nunnery where we live in nuns, as nuns, sisters, and she's working in the kitchen making the food for all the nuns in the convent. And I'm like, oh, that's a, past life memory. Like, I mean, she picks me up at the airport, and it's like, we've known each other for 40 years in 20 seconds. I don't know how that happens. Of course I know how it happens, right? That's what we call a past life connection, parallel life, karmic relationship. Okay, but thank you, Carolina, so much for getting me here and bringing me here. All right, so let me give you guys a little background on me for those who doesn't know me, who's never heard of me before, or at least until just this week. Okay, so I want to give you some background so you know where this is coming from. So my name is Lori Spagna, and I'm an animal communicator and an energy healer, and I'm a channel. So when I go into meditation and group healing, there's trance channel, and it's not so much trance because I'm sort of semi-conscious. I still am aware of it all. I'm also, and this is what I call an Ascension guide, which is, do you guys know what Ascension is? Do you guys know?
I don't.
Okay, that's all right. So that's tomorrow night's presentation. But it's really about the evolutionary shift that's happening on planet Earth, that everybody's waking up, and that's what we go into tomorrow. We do healing, global healing. And I call myself a Starseed, which is a terminology that's getting more popular now. But it's really where, for me, it's where some aspect of my future self, which is more extraterrestrial star family in nature, connected with that past version of myself that was just your everyday human. And through that awakening, there's this remembrance like, oh, I was seeded here to wake up kind of like a little bit ahead of game to help everybody else to wake up too. But I'm not alone. We're millions on the planet. But here's my true story, just to kind of give you guys. I went to, grew up in the United States and graduated college and went to work. And my first day in corporate America, I was being a good slave. I call myself a good slave because I did what was expected of me. And I felt like I was sort of living my father's dream. And not that it was his fault, it's just that's what he knew. And he just assumed that since he loved it, I would love it. It wasn't really, it was just all he knew. That's all I got. That was what I was told. Tunnel vision. This is the way to do it. And the moment I walked into corporate America out of college, I thought, this is not going to make me happy. Like, I immediately, the first week, began to label it as slavery. I remember complaining about the fact that I had to wear stockings. But within a few years after college, I graduated debt-free. I graduated like healthy, smoke-free, alcohol-free, like, college kid stuff. But within only a few years, I started to develop these habits, bad habits, right? So I became a smoker, I started drinking. And within like the first 20 years out of college, after 20 years I should say, I amassed $150,000 in debt on credit cards because I was, shock therapy. And I became a smoker of 2 packs of cigarettes a day because I was suppressing through cigarettes, numbing. I was drinking 6 or 8 beers a day because I was numbing. I was drinking 2 pots of coffee to get through the day because I couldn't function. My thyroid was off, I had clumps of hair falling out. I was 65 pounds overweight, like really, I remember being a size 14, thinking like, how did this happen? Carolina, that's your phone.
Oh.
Or else it's mine, I don't know.
No, I think
it's mine. Sorry. You have to just push it off. Sorry. Yeah, that was my mistake. Sorry, guys. So all these things were happening, and I was going to doctors for help, and what do you think they were doing?
Medicated.
Yeah. And I'm not exaggerating when I say there was a time I was in a hotel room where I lined up all the bottles.
And you had 9.
No, they were like across the entire sink of the hotel room, shoved from one end to the other, like this much. And there were multiple, so you fill them up. It was a whole cocktail. That's why they call it a cocktail. And I mean, this was normal. I was miserable. I would come home from work at the end of the night, 12 o'clock at night every night, and crying hysterical. And I remember going to my parents like, what do I do? Please help me. And my father would be like, you stick it out. You stick it out. And I mean, it was very, like, the whole upbringing was like very emotional, abusive, but we didn't know that because we projected that leave it to beaver kind of attitude, right, in our reality. So, all right, but during those 20 years, I had a mantra, and the mantra was, I want to be of service to animals on a global scale. How do I make the world better? That was my thing. I want to make the world better for animals. And I also had two other mantras, which was, I wanted God to be my boss, and the other mantra was, I wanted the truth. I was always a big truther. So, flash forward 20 years, what happens is my brother died of a drug overdose. And of course it was unexpected. I started getting messages from him in my head, and I started hearing him like, hey, law. Like he had a New York accent, kind of a tough boy accent in a way, even though it wasn't really a tough boy, but he would say, hello, it's your dead brother Jeff. And I would hear it like that, and I'd be like, okay, I'd like scratch my head like, what the, am I really hearing this? Like, and I'd ask for validations and confirmations, like if this is really, could you show me this, or could you, and thing after thing after thing, it just kept validating, you know, like I'd get messages that just were impossible to, okay, I think I'm going crazy, but that is too crazy to be crazy, like too impossible for that not to be real. So at the same time that all of this was happening, I was married, and my then husband was just not into it, you know, so we were drifting apart. But what started to happen with Jeff was like, he was like, you need to get happy. Like, you're on the same course as me. He was my wake-up call. And through that process of tuning in, I decided to quit my job of 6 figures with all that debt and become a dog trainer. Because that was like what I knew was possible to help animals. You know, I thought I was going to be Cesar Millan. So anyhow, I become a dog trainer. I'm hired by this guy who spends 20 years training service animals for the United States government. He recruited 8 people to work for him. He was starting a new dog training business. He was done with the military after 20 years, and he started his own business. And after the first few weeks, actually, because he was so rigid and stringent about the way we were going to be trained and what we were going to do, 2 people were immediately released within the first month. And then there were 6 of us, and what happened was for the first year we were like videotaped and critiqued every day. The first few months we were only in a classroom being tested. We couldn't even really work with animals. And initially we were only working with animals in high kill shelters in Los Angeles. And because you couldn't think while I was being tested and videotaped, I would go, you know, no brain. You know, this is what happens when you become a robot, because that's what he wanted. You do this, don't think. You have to do it perfectly. But what would happen in the stillness and the quiet was that I could hear the animals. And I would hear them, and they would say, you don't have to push me, poke me, prod me, shush me, hang me, tug me, all those things that he was teaching us. They would say, you need to listen to me, and I'll teach you. So I got very good at listening. And that was where my listening, my clairaudience came in. I would listen, and I would hear them, and they would teach me. And just a couple of other things about my story, and then we'll move on to the, you know, the good stuff that you want to hear more, is that while I was learning to listen, I would meditate every night with my eyes closed, because I felt like I could see messages from Jeff. I could see lights. I could see images. I didn't understand that. But I'm listening to the dogs in the day, and I'm connecting with my brother at night through visual. So my clairvoyance started to come online, because I would see things that he was showing me, and I felt like that was how I was. But I was also hearing from him. Anyway, nonetheless, I had a dog at the time. Her name was Kenya. I rescued her from South Central LA, which is like one of the high kill shelters in Los Angeles. When I went there to adopt her, this is even before all this happened, I'm just bringing it into the story. I went there wanting to save the life of an animal, and when I got her, she had parvo. Right, everybody died, but 10 years ago, 10 years ago, this is 20 years ago now. fatal at that time. They didn't know, and the vet told me, bring her back and get another one. And I was like, what? You know. So she also became my teacher, because that was a sacred contract. Because I didn't heal her, the vet healed her through my commitment to pay the $5,000, and there was no way she wasn't going to live, because it was a sacred contract that she was going to be teaching me. And I later came to realize, I learned from her, actually in the afterlife after she crossed. She picked her name, but while I was learning, I would hear her, without even knowing I was hearing her, I would always know it was her, because she would say, can you do this? Can you do that? Kenya. Her name was Kenya. Kenya, can you do this? Can you do that? And I later found, yeah, she picked her name. And then I later learned from her, well, all people pick their names, which in this room we probably know that. We pick our own names. But I learned a lot of stuff from her, even in the afterlife. So this is where all this information is coming from. The animals, Kenya, and so many other teachers since then. And of course then through my own process of my own evolution, because that was ultimately what it was. I'll flash forward to the end of my story, and that's that after my husband divorced me when this was happening, he was like, I didn't sign up for this, and you're getting too independent for me, like you're getting happy, you want to go off those drugs, you know, they weren't called drugs, medicine, pharmaceutical drugs. You think you can quit smoking, you think you can do this all overnight, you think you can quit smoking, you think you can quit that alcohol that you're drinking 8 beers a day. And I was like, I don't need this stuff, I don't even know if I need you, but that triggered him in a big way. And then he divorced me. And I moved to Maui and started practicing this stuff every day for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, within the 2 years, it was all gone. The $150,000 of debt, I was getting letters from banks. This is all pre-2009 when the collapse happened. But I was getting letters from the bank, you know, we dismiss your debt, because I was working on forgiveness and I was giving it to Source. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, this is more than I can handle. My whole life collapsed. I lost everything in those 2 years. But the cigarettes were gone permanently. Alcohol gone permanently. I came back thin and lean. I'm a little heavier now, but really, I lost the 65 pounds. My hair regrew. I got healthy again. The pharmaceutical drugs all gone. And of course, now I had a new business, you know, a new career came out of it. So, yeah, you know, it was all that stuff went away, the coffee, the whole thing. I mean, now I drink coffee again, but it was like rebalanced, right? So that's where all this is coming in. And then I had, like, in addition to that time in Maui, I had an abduction experience, which people will hear more about tomorrow, benefit from that, and just the near-death experience. It's transformational stuff. That's just, now I understand it, to help others to awaken. All right, so that's my long story I elaborated, but what I wanted to do to start tonight, which is a little different than how I usually do this, I usually go into the teaching first, but I think what we're going to start with tonight is a small, brief meditation. Because I think if you feel a little bit of it for yourself, that this will kind of like help you to, as I talk about and teach about it afterwards, reflect on your experience. And then with any luck, if we have time, we'll do a brief meditation at the end. And in between, we'll have a lot of content and questions. Does that sound good? Just like 5 minutes. So can I have the clock, a little clock?
Yes. Oh, we have enough?
Just so I can look at a timer. Okay. So I want you to just start to relax. And everyone has your own animal, right? In the room? Yes? So your animal, do you have an animal?
Not now.
Okay, but your animal crossed? Okay, that's the animal you'll work with. Pick one animal, it has to be your animal, and it's fine if they crossed over, because they're still conscious and alive. They just don't have a body anymore. And you're going to just see that animal in your mind, and set your intention now that you're going to have a connection with that animal. You're going to make a connection that's meaningful for you and significant. Set your intent. Can you just in your mind, you intend that? Even if you don't know how in this moment. Are you with me? Does that sound good for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah? I know, because you don't believe it's possible. Do you know that? Do you feel like that? Or you're unsure? I put you on the spot? I'm sorry. Okay, you don't have to answer. I do put people on the spot because there's nothing to be like ashamed, worried about. We all have this ability. But anyhow, okay, so let's just breathe and relax. Take some deep breaths, and I want you, when you feel comfortable, just to let your eyes close. And just trust, even if you're just looking down at first, because my eyes are closed now. And in your mind, you know what that animal looks like or looked like before they crossed over, and you know their name. And so in your mind, you're just intending. You just say in your mind with your thoughts, I intend to have a real and significant and meaningful connection with the consciousness of this animal. You can even say what she said. I intend to have a real and meaningful and significant connection with this animal. And then you say that animal's name in your mind 3 times. Just say it out loud or in your mind. And then just take a deep breath and relax. And with your mind also, you're just calling that consciousness of this animal forward. So you can say, I call forward the consciousness of, and say their name. And now in your mind, somehow you're either going to see them with your mind, or you're going to sense them in some way. You just allow it. This is very simple, subtle. This isn't the whole enchilada, but you're just breathing and allowing. And just surrender. Surrender means you just let go. Just let the left brain stop thinking what it's supposed to do. And just let yourself know what you know. Because actually you know what you know already. And there's a part of you that completely already knows how to do this. There's no right or wrong, actually. There's no right or wrong way. So just allow yourself to see or sense or feel. I'm going to get a little more quiet. But you're just going to see or sense or feel this animal in your mind. And you just allow whatever you see or sense or hear or feel. It might just be a momentary thing. But whatever you see or sense or feel, you make a note of it. Just make an awareness of it. Just be aware. You may feel or see or sense some kind of imagery. You may hear some kind of audio sound in your mind. You may notice some kind of sensation. You may feel in your heart some kind of pressure or lightness or something subtle, so subtle. It could be as subtle as even in a moment you might not think it's real. That's okay. Just allow yourself to have whatever comes to you, whatever awareness. And even with your mind's awareness, you could also even ask the following question. Just ask, is there anything you'd like to share with me right now that I could receive right now? And just breathe into that. You just notice whatever you notice. And if you feel like you've received something, you just, with your mind, with your awareness, you just say thank you. Just thank you. And if you feel like you didn't receive anything, or some part of you is like, still wondering, that's okay, say next time. It's okay. Just let it go. And then when you're ready, you just come back to the room, just open your eyes. So I just want to, for clarification, I want to hear from you, if any of you experienced anything, and if so, what. And I want to share with you that what we just did was a subtle alpha brainwave. Actually, what I teach is a much more in-depth theta brainwave approach. That's the typical way that most animal communicators teach. I know you did. You had something go on there. Yeah, do you want to share? I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyone who wants to share, you don't have to if you don't want to, but does anyone want to share?
I will, but it'll be a little hard for me to talk.
Okay, do you want to take a breather first, or do you want to?
I can talk.
Okay.
You can
I'm so
entertain me.
grateful.
I'm good.
I'm so grateful for you to share, Mary.
I had a cat. Her name was Miss Kitty. She was kind of like, not, she was like, she happened to me. I didn't really like ask for her or go get her or anything. She just kind of became part of our family. And we had her for a long time. She got really old. And I wasn't really very aware of animals as spirits. And so when she got old, I had her put down because she was starting to make messes in the house. She couldn't really control herself. And I've always felt very guilty about that. And I had a friend come to visit me one day, and she's very psychic or clairvoyant or something. She said, "There's a cat in here." And I said, "A cat?" And she said, "Yeah, there's a cat in here." And so I said, "Well, I had a cat." I told her this story. And she says, "Yeah, your guilt over having done this has kept her here. She can't leave. So you need to let her go." And I did. During the cacao ceremony, she came back to me. And I think what I've learned from her is forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the hardest thing that I've been struggling with of late, is forgiving myself for sundry things. You know, just pick one. It's hard to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
So
Did you feel like you made a connection with her today? Or
yes,
remembrance
it
of
was
that?
just,
Yes.
I didn't see anything, but I just kind of suddenly felt a little bit lighter.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you got a healing. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So this is actually a very different way that I usually do this, but I want to offer you and everyone in the room, if you're willing, to receive, let me just ask, anywhere you've ever had guilt related to an animal, or even related to your own life, or anything that's ever happened with another being, be it animal or human, because we're animals, would you be willing to receive healing on this now? And this healing will come with and from source, consciousness, divine source, creator, God, infinite love, infinite light, infinite consciousness. And that anywhere in your body, your being, your conscious, your unconscious, known to you or unknown to you, real or imagined, this lifetime and every other, including in between lifetimes, where you've had and or stored and or embodied guilt, all the energies, the frequencies, the vibrations of guilt, which are no longer serving us, especially as it relates to our animals, because our animals don't want us to have the guilt. They want us to be in love and joy. That's what they want for us. That's what they're here for, to help us learn. So are you willing to give that to the divine source, to let divine source identify it from within and around you, as we've just mentioned? Only source, the divine source, will locate it now, lift it, remove it, dissolve it, take it all away, and transmute it into love and light, and provide healing for you at the point of origin, wherever it first began, throughout all time and space, every omnidirectional, omnidimensional, that you, your body, and being shall receive the healing with respect to this guilt, that you never again need to create it, recreate it, and or perpetuate it, that you're done and complete with this. And as this healing is provided to you, whoever you are as a unique individual being, which Source knows exactly who you are, it will also be provided to the animals as they are connected to us, anywhere they felt it, and or experienced it with, through, from us, in relationship to us, that they will also receive the benefits of this healing on the topic area of guilt. Are you willing to provide this, to receive it, and also to extend it as a light worker, to provide it to others as well, as is uniquely appropriate for each individual, only as is for the highest and best of all beings concerned? Yeah? So we work with law of conscious consent, free will. So for you to receive this healing as you're listening to me, you want to breathe. You just want to surrender. In your mind you say, yes, thank you. And you're going to relax and surrender to the breath. Yes. Even if it's not related to an animal, right? It's fine. We just notice. Now you're just noticing. So the healing's starting. And you notice whatever you notice is fine. There's nothing particularly you need to do other than breathe, receive, and allow, and you notice whatever you notice. Like it's got foot, it's got foot. This is just part of the energy moving. Yes. And in your mind, if you notice anything, even just a slight lightness, it's always good just in your mind, you just say, yes, thank you. Nice, good. Awesome. How's everyone doing? Yeah? You may notice nothing, that's fine. Or you may notice something, either way. Okay, thank you so much, Mary, because what you shared just provided a healing for everyone. No matter how conscious of it we are or not, it makes a huge difference. When a group comes together, something comes up, we make a collective agreement. You might not even realize in this now moment that something dramatic has changed for you, but I promise you it has. And it shifts, it changes, you become more conscious of it in the coming days, weeks, sometimes even months. But nonetheless, this is a catalyst for that. So, thanks. Does anyone else want to share about what experience you might have had or what you noticed from that earlier meditation?
I went into it wanting to see Diablo, who was pretty much an angel through my divorce, and when his job was done, left. And I ended up, my ex-husband's dog Fiasco came to me. Both shepherds, but mine, Diablo, was black. He was traditional and was never really connected to me. And he came in and he just told me that Nick is really struggling. So I just, during that sense of love, his way, and he said, I just wanted to thank you. So it was, I've never had that happen before. It was interesting.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Did anyone feel like they got nothing? Maybe in the back? You felt like you got nothing? That's okay. That's all right. Anyone else feel like that? No? You guys, does anyone else want to share?
I don't mind sharing mine. I was concentrating on Kool-Aid, who was lost an offset from years ago. And during the message time, when you said, is there a message, Kool-Aid told me, I am maybe, and maybe is our job right now. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
You got a reincarnation.
Yeah.
That's great. Did you ever have that knowing before? Or some part of you knew it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've mentioned it before,
Yeah.
that I would think that. But I wasn't concentrating on that. I wasn't expecting
Right.
that at all.
That's beautiful because you went in just sort of non-attached to what came through. That's wonderful.
No, I expected that.
It's a great way to learn because when we have no attachment to anything particular, we expand what is that comes through. Did you?
Well, I was going to say I spoke to an animal that was actually alive, which was Jake Ketchum, and what I got back was a very pale lavender color, and then a sensation that was almost, he loves to play, he's a cat, he loves to play in water, and it was as if there was water sloshing back and forth in a bowl.
Ah,
And so I was just kind of like, okay, we're playing in water.
yeah. What does lavender mean to you?
What is lavender?
What is it symbolic of?
I don't know.
First answer.
I was going to say I just like the color purple, so I was surprised he went.
Okay,
with
some
pale
form of
lavender.
happiness? Well, I just think, we don't always realize, but welcome. But messages that we get are significant, and the non-physical realm, including the animals through telepathy, are using things that matter to us to try to make a connection. So when you get lavender, I'm aware that lavender means something to you, and that your animal, in this case, is offering something that your animal's aware means something to you, to try to make an indication. So part of our ability as animal communicators is to understand what these messages mean, because it's almost like, let's say you speak French and I speak Russian, but neither one of us speaks the other language. I'm gonna hold some things up to you, and you're gonna go, Starbucks? I'm gonna go Starbucks, and you're gonna go, coffee, cup, what? And you might hand me a cup, and I'll be like, and you know what it is? We're playing this game. I speak one language, you speak another. I want to make sense to you, you want to make sense, and somewhere we meet in the middle. So lavender is a good learning example in this case, because lavender means something to you and it means something to your animal. You might have saw lavender, but to you it's purple, but if purple is your favorite color, happiness, now you can find some kind of meeting in the middle. And that's part of how we develop over time, because what lavender means to you could mean lavender, could mean something totally different to someone else or to an animal, but nonetheless, or maybe that's how they see the color purple. Whatever it is, this is the kind of exchange. It's like, how do you finesse and fine tune what means what to whom? All right, so with that, let me go into more content for you, but let's keep it open, right? Yeah.
Do you want the light back on?
Oh,
For
well,
your
we can do
video?
a little more. Yeah, that would be good. Can we turn the light back on?
I can do
Okay.
it.
You better not.
All right, so let me give you content. All right, first of all, how does animal communication and telepathy work? Is there any skeptics in the room who are brand new? I didn't really ask that, but are there any skeptics? Okay, you're a little skeptical. It's okay. Here's what I want to say to skeptics. Left brain is the brain humans are using. The left brain is the analyzing brain that makes logical sense of things, and in school it studies and it memorizes, and we are left brain over-analyzing beings, especially in the recent 10, 15 years of our schooling system, where we've taken out dance and art and music and even athletics to some degree. They've taken out things that are not completely choreographed. There's no free movement. We are no longer using our right brain. This has thrown humans incredibly off balance. This is why there's massive amounts right now of people who are sick and unhealthy physically, because if you're not balanced here, you'll be imbalanced in the body, and this creates disease. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what's going on, and that's not a point of view. I mean, it is a point of view, but it is also factual. So, in the left brain, we're analyzing, and we're using always one of 5 brainwaves. What brainwave are we using with this left brain, analytical brain? Beta. Beta brainwave makes lists, give me the 7 steps to learn, tell me I want to do 1, 2, 3. If you don't tell me how to do it, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I believe. It doesn't believe that it doesn't even see flashes of light or recognize. It's just, all it is a single part of the brain, and that's how we've been trained. And it is what we call it's analytical, but it's like that approach where, assembly line approach, right? And we've been trained that way on purpose through the schooling system, because, that's the way it was in the 1900s, even if you go back that far, but this goes to the birth of humanity. Assembly line, do this, then do this, bottle goes down, water flows. It's just that's the way everything is, that kind of approach. But that kind of approach does not allow for all of this extra sensory ability.
And
So the first
creativity.
thing, creativity. Because the first thing to understand is that's the way we've been trained, and that is the skeptic mind, the left brain. Now what I always say is the right brain knows. The right brain knows what the left brain is trying to figure out. So if we look at our animals, our animal companions, they don't work in assembly lines, they don't go to school, they don't have to memorize things. And they don't have to get along with their mother or pay their bills or clean up the house. They just get to be. And through the being, they're using much more of their right brain. This is the being brain. This is the doing brain, this is the being brain. So when the 2 brains work together, where we have brilliance. And we have wisdom. When the brain of the left side works with the brain of the right brain, and then the heart starts to come in, now we have brilliance, now we have mastery, we start moving into mastery. But most humans are not here. Animals are, that's why we say, when we interact with our animals, they're always loving, they're always forgiving, they're always kind, they're always playful, because this is the energy of the heart center, right? So, the right brain knows things, it's aware. If I don't tell you what color this is, or if we don't label this color or this material, if we feel this material and we know it's velvet, we can label it, but it's the left brain that labels it. It's the left brain that says it's blue, but the right brain just knows. The left brain will say, oh, it's soft, right? So the sensory brain has an experience. If I don't label this as blue, velvet, chair, soft, I just experience it. Does this make sense? That's happening through the right brain. Now that's what goes on with animals. He might not call it blue. He might not call it velvet. He might not call it soft. He might not call it a chair, but he knows exactly what it is. He knows. He sits on the chair, the cat sits on the chair. He knows exactly what it is. So, okay, but over time, you go sit on your chair. Now he knows when you say, oh, he's learned, it's a chair. Oh, isn't this blue velvet chair soft? You're talking to your cat, you sit on, isn't it so soft? And you're happy here. Now he knows soft. And if I label it as blue, this is blue. Blue, he can learn just like we can, it's blue. He's not going to school to study it. That's his right brain, right? And then when you go and hug him, oh, I'm so happy, you're happy. Now the heart is activated. There's love. He feels the love just like we do. So they're communicating the same way, but they're actually using more of their brain in some ways than we are. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, we also talked about the beta brainwave, right? Because that's what we're doing when we're active and alert and we're writing lists and we're making notes and we're doing that. What are we doing when we're sleeping? What brainwave are we using when we're sleeping? Delta. That's a delta brainwave. We all sleep. We all use that brainwave. We're not conscious, but we dream. There's a consciousness of dreaming it, if we can remember it. So that's another consciousness. It's a frequency of a vibrational range, or an energy range. We all have it. Dogs, cats, all animals, they dream too. You've seen their eyes when they do this, right? Everyone in the room have seen your animal companion sometimes do that? That's a delta brainwave. They're dreaming. Okay, you don't have to be dreaming. That's REM sleep, but it's a frequency of a delta brainwave. Okay. Now what we just did, that brief meditation, and by the way, that is how most animal communicators teach animal communication. They bring you into light brainwave, you have a meditation, and then you call in with your conscious mind that animal. That's an alpha brainwave. Make sense? I don't think it's a very effective brainwave. It works. Some people have it and it works. To me, it's not super effective. That's why some people don't have it. For the people who didn't, because alpha brainwave is like you're just there and you're letting yourself relax, and you do relax, and it's nice and it's peaceful, and you may or may not have it. I've had a lot of people come to my classes who say, I've taken 4 classes on animal communication, I still can't do it. And I'm like, do you know what a theta brainwave is? And they're like, huh? Have you learned how to access that brainwave? I don't think so. Well, that's why. Because alpha brainwave is not a good brainwave for animal communication, in my opinion. But it does work. It does work. It's just not good. Not as good.
It's not that I'm skeptical, it's that I don't know for sure. And you know, the skeptical inquirer, I don't like those people at all.
Yeah.
I think it's possible for some, but I don't know if it's possible for me.
Okay, let's clear that belief right there. That's just a belief. Because we're going to clear what's possible, belief from our consciousness. But understand it's possible for everyone. That's why I'm explaining it this way. Because we all, first of all, I haven't even gotten into it all yet, but we all have a left brain and we all have a right brain, right? Mm-hmm. We all have a heart, right? Mm-hmm. So we all can agree that we haven't really been using our right brain unless we meditate regularly. We start using our right brain. And we definitely have not been using our heart center on planet Earth. We actually know that the heart has brain matter in there. The heart has actual brain matter. We know this scientifically. The Institute of Heart Math is studying this, documenting it scientifically. So that we, on planet Earth, when something's scientifically documented, we take it as gospel, right? Don't we? We say, oh, the scientists prove it, therefore it must be. So we know that there's brain matter in the heart, but it has to be developed just like a muscle. So, therefore, does everyone in this room have a heart? Yes, so we can all develop our brain matter. That means it's possible for you. Does everyone in this room have a right brain? Yes. And I didn't get through all the other stuff, but you have everything else needed in your body. That means it is possible for you, but you have a belief that it's not possible, and a
No.
belief, or that it might not be possible.
Right.
Okay, so we can clear that, right? So hang on to that belief, because I want to clear that for the whole group, because we all have that belief about something in our lives. Anyone have a dream that they want? You've been dreaming something you really want, something that would make you really happy. Doesn't even necessarily mean animal communication. Who, come on, I do. Come on.
A new car.
Okay, well, do you, some part of you believe that's not possible, or you can't afford it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, yeah, so those are just beliefs. Do we get that? A belief is changeable. Belief is not, wow, I
It's
could
not
go.
stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow, this is a little slight detour, but it's a good detour, so I want to go in it. I want to go in this direction. Let me just make sure I don't lose the animal communication part where we left off. Okay, good. So let me just go down this slight detour in the belief. I could believe that gravity is not real. It doesn't really matter. If I believe it, the gravity's going to make that drop, right? So I could believe that there's no good men out there who are still single. That's a belief a lot of women have. Or I could believe that I can't afford something. That doesn't make it true. It's just a belief. So beliefs are changeable, right? So once we change our belief about something, in the process of changing a belief, actually reality can show us something different. Reality, the moment we change a belief about something, something else becomes possible that wasn't possible before. Does this make sense? For example, not example, let me give you, to explain this a little better. This is stuff, by the way, tomorrow we'll go into more. Or we could potentially, depending on where we go, but there are certain universal laws. So universal laws, it doesn't matter if you believe them. It doesn't matter if you believe them or not, they're true. So for example, gravity, this is not a universal law because it's not universally true, but it is a law of nature. And a law of nature is held in place by universal laws. So it doesn't matter if I don't believe, it's going to drop, right? So there are universal laws. For example, there's a law of cause and effect. That is a universal law. Now, if you don't believe that I'm going to drop this, the law of cause and effect says, I don't care if you believe, there's an effect. If she drops this, the effect is
It falls.
cause and effect. If I smack you, the effect is you're going to get hurt. You're going to not like me. You're going to call a policeman.
No, I was
Or-
gonna kick you then.
Okay, that's a cause and effect relationship, right? But if I tell you I love you, I'm so grateful, I make a joke, you're going to laugh. Cause and effect, right? That's a law. Universal law. Doesn't matter if you believe in it. Real.
Would that also be karma? Would that include?
Well, karma is cause and effect relationship, absolutely. Karma is another bigger picture with a lot more story in there. But basically it is. It's simply law of cause and effect in operation, in a way. So, okay, there's universal laws, and this is how you can tell if something's a belief or not. Does anyone know? This is simply it. So simple. You say, is this universally true for everyone, everywhere, no matter what, whether they believe it or not? No matter whether you believe it or not, a universal law will stand up universally. A natural law will stand up naturally in our planet. So everywhere you go, no matter whether you believe in gravity or not, that's a natural law. But universal law of cause and effect is a good example. There's tons of laws, but anyway, that's not tonight's topic. But so the point is whether or not it's possible for you, that's not a universal law. If it's possible for someone else, it's actually possible for you. Does that make sense?
No.
It's a
From the
self-
belief system point.
It's a self-limiting belief.
It's a self-limiting belief to think that something's not possible for you that's possible for someone else. This whole time, we could spend an hour and a half on just this topic because people make healing. So in any case, what I would like you to do, since we don't have time to go down that whole thing, is to expand into the concept that Belief systems will limit us or expand us based on what we believe, and beliefs are always changeable. That's part of the healing journey. So we're going to go back to the animal communication, but right before we do, let's just identify the belief systems: thoughts, feelings, beliefs, opinions, judgments, points of view, perspectives, ideologies, energies, frequencies, vibrations, both conscious and unconscious, known to us and unknown to us, real and imagined, that something is not possible. Anything is not possible for us. And instead replace it with the knowing that everything is possible for us. And it's simply a matter of us choosing it and aligning with it vibrationally, energetically. Can we do that? Does that make sense to everybody? Especially and in particular animal communication and telepathy. Anywhere and everywhere we've made it impossible to communicate in a two-way dialogue with an animal or with another living being because we believed and or perceived that it was impossible. Let's just have source, consciousness, divine source, identify that from us, from within us and around us, and lift it, remove it, and dissolve it, take it away, transmute it into love and light, and replace it with source's knowing, source, consciousness, source truth, source point of view, source perspective, understanding and definition, that everything is possible. Are you willing to do this? Yeah, because you're free. We're working with the law of free will. That is a law. So you have to say yes, basically yes, thank you, or yes, please. Yeah, so let me get out of the way here. So for this, you definitely don't want to be taking notes if you want the healing, right? If you want it. Because your left brain will interfere. You want to relax and receive. Breathe, take a breath. And just allow, and you just notice through your breath, you're just allowing source to do the work. I'm just the facilitator, the translator, and also the witness. And I mean, source is just gives me the word, shows me what's doing, what's happening. I'm listening, I'm watching. Thank you. A little more. Yes. You're relaxing, you're noticing. Whatever you're noticing, even if you think it's nothing, you're noticing. Source is working with you. Okay, good. There we go. Nice. So maybe you notice a little bit of lightness. Did anyone notice just a little bit lightness there? Yeah? And even if you didn't, that's okay. Because it does it for you. Your job is simply to use your free will consent, because that I can never override. There's a law of intent, consent, and authority. That's the law of free will. It won't let me override it because you have free will. That's why you have to say yes, please, or yes, thank you. Make sense? All right, let's come back to the animal communication thing. I think you stay with me on this, whether it's possible for you thing. So, okay. Now, we know we have these brainwaves. Now, we know delta and we talked about beta. Now, what is the brainwave? We did the meditation. What is the brainwave when we're watching TV or when we're doing a light meditation, like we just did? Alpha. So the alpha brainwave is what most people do when they meditate, and it's a great brainwave because you take some breaths and you relax, and you're tuning into a frequency range of a brainwave, and this brainwave does one thing. It says yes. All is well. It restores the body to homeostasis. Why is meditation so good? Why does it help people? Yes. Because it says, yes, all is well. That's what it does. So it takes information from whatever's going on, and it just brings everything back into a kind of balance. That's what alpha brainwave does. Now, the thing about the alpha brainwave that's tricky is that most people, the way they go into meditation these days, what do? Do you know? They sit in front of the TV.
I was going to say that wasn't good because
This is the tricky part. You chill out in front of the TV. Most people, that's how they're relaxing. And they are going into an alpha brainwave.
they're being programmed.
That's right. Do you have mesothelioma?
I think I do.
Call your doctor and ask if your blood pressure might be a problem. Yes. Yes.
Or you're being told to order Domino's pizza.
Yes! When you're watching TV, you're in alpha brainwave state, and the vast majority of TV today, I mean, I haven't counted and I don't have a science, but it looks like something like 75% of commercials are medical issues. Telling you, all of us, if we listen, even unconsciously, that you're getting sick, that you're dying, that you need a doctor, that you need a pill. Get Claritin Clear, you'll be okay. They show you pink roses and buttercups, and everything's nice, and then they tell you you're sick, but you need this, and it will help you. And this is what's going on with the vast majority of humanity. They believe it, and they don't know because it's taking that information. Now, notice when I said conscious and unconscious, what percentage of our brain is conscious if we're not meditating?
25%.
10. According to science, if you're not meditating, 10% of your brain is conscious. What's it doing? It's beating your heart, it's making you breathe. Oh, this is a pink color, this is velvet, you're labeling things, give me 3 steps. That's all that brain can do. You can't memorize. You have to force memory, study, you gotta study, because you won't be able to retain that knowledge with only 10% of your brain. That's what all that is, 10%. The moment you start meditating, you start accessing more of your brain. So if you're a regular meditator, you're already smarter than the average Joe watching TV. Okay, makes sense? So we got 90% unconscious for most people. The point is to bring more of that into consciousness, right? Okay, so let's get back on with this. So we got alpha, beta, delta. What's the other 2 brainwaves?
Theta.
Theta and gamma. So theta, I'm going to come back to. Gamma is I can manipulate something using a brainwave frequency that I'm not touching. So who's seen spoon bending? Spoon bending trick? Okay, if a person's really doing it and it's not a trick, they're using a gamma brainwave. And the gamma brainwave is a frequency that is such a strong, solid, conscious, alert, focused brainwave, it does not move. It knows. It becomes at one with everything else. So you can affect something else. You can hold that brainwave so perfectly. You're in oneness. Anyone heard the term I am presence? I am at one with this spoon. Okay, it's a practiced effort, right? Okay, but we're not doing that in this class or this group. So let's come back to the theta brainwave. Theta brainwave. Most people actually do access a theta brainwave just before they go to sleep. They fall into delta. Why? Because that theta brainwave, it's a range where you're still conscious, but you're so meditative and peaceful, but you can dialogue in it. So when I'm doing healing, most of the time I'm in a dialogue in a theta brainwave state. I'm connecting with angels, maybe animals, the animal kingdom, benevolence, divine source, clear, pure, absolute love, infinite love. I'm in that frequency. I'm still awake. I can explain things, I can talk, but I'm zoned. It feels so good. We all have that ability to get into that theta brainwave state. So this is a range, a frequency range, right? Now, animals, they're always there. That's where they communicate, because they don't have this ability. They're not, talkers that way. So how do they exchange information? What is telepathy? What is telepathy? What's telepathy?
Communicating with your mind.
Yes!
And receiving
Exactly! Brain-to-brain contact. Now, if I sit here with you, and I do this in my psychic development class, we practice it. I hold a word or an image in my mind, and I just focus on this, and you go into a theta brainwave. I might go into a theta brainwave too. Sometimes we do it both ways. Sometimes we practice either or. And then the other person has the ability to pick it up at that frequency. Does this make sense? Hello. Come on in. That's all right. Come on. So you're with me? Telepathy is brain to brain. So our animals are in that range frequency. It's just different ranges, different frequency. But if we know how to get into a theta brainwave, and we can hold that, the problem is in the beginning stages, most people just fall asleep. They go right to the delta because they can't hold it. Because it's such a relaxed, peaceful, blissful brainwave. And you sort of get woozy. And then before you know it, but if you practice, that's the frequency that animals are communicating. By the way, I'm saying animals, but I mean humans. Because when you're thinking things and I'm standing next to you, I can hear your thoughts. I have a friend, and Florida, and she's like, well, I can never lie to you. Yeah, I'll say something to her, and then before she even gives me the answer, I'm like, oh, you don't like that. Oh, you don't. And she's like, oh my God, well, why do I even try to talk with you? Because, you know, when you really, and by the way, these frequencies are just ranges of energy. So this is why a similar kind of thing that happens, well, this is when we get into the heart center. Let me hold that statement. But does this make sense to everybody so far? Yeah? And so if you haven't been trained to access the theta brainwave, or even alpha, because most humans can't, they have a hard time meditating without, they don't know that they're meditating when they're just looking at a sunset and zoning and being peaceful. Because they don't even know that that is a form of meditation. They wouldn't even identify that. But it's useful for advertisers. They know exactly what they're doing. It's useful when you're watching TV. And that's an alpha brainwave. People are already meditating. So does this make sense? Everyone with me? Okay, good. Now let's go into the heart part. So we know that the brain matter is in the heart. We know that the heart can develop brain matter just like, oh, I know it. I forgot to say this part. Thank you. We know that the heart can develop just like a muscle can be built. If I go into a gym and I start working out, I can build my muscle. Same is true with the brain matter of the heart. In fact, our regular brain, we know there's a whole study on, you know, all kinds of movements on brain flexibility and brain gym. Have you heard about that? The brain gym? Exercise your brain. That's why crossword puzzles are actually kind of good, because they make you exercise your brain. This is like, keeps you from getting into Alzheimer's, etc. When you use it, you don't lose it. Make sense? So that's the whole concept about exercising your body. If you exercise your body, you don't lose it. If you take your body for granted, it gets sick, you die. Right? Make sense? All right, so heart center has brain matter. Now, the bulk of humanity, we don't like to say this about ourselves. We don't want to admit this, but we've been so up here, we have not been down here. We haven't, really, we haven't. And even if you have ever looked at something that's made you sad or upset, and you refused to let yourself feel in any way, you shut down your heart, right? If you felt, I can't feel that, I can't, we're shutting down our capacity to feel. But we've basically been trained. And by the way, since we're in an animal class, I mean, how do people raise animals for slaughter? How do they do it? They have to completely shut down. In fact, they're trained by that industry to not see them as living beings. They're trained to be completely discompassionate, because they could never do that. No one could do that. No one could do that if you had any heart center activation there, if you had anything going on in the heart. So you'd be, most people, and you know when you've hugged somebody and you get this kind of hug, that is somebody who does not have anything here. But you know when you get this kind of hug, heart to heart, it's because they're already open here. Right? And they're willing to receive and exchange love through the heart center, right? Okay, well, animals are already doing this. That's why so many people are like, I love my animal more than I love humans, because the animal's giving them love. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so we exchange information here. We can communicate with an animal heart to heart, therefore. If we're at that frequency, that's not even a theta brainwave necessarily, because I can receive an awareness through my heart center, and I can feel what that animal's feeling. I can feel if they're feeling, I don't know how, my left brain's going to identify it. I need the left brain to identify it, but I might feel suddenly sadness, or I might feel suddenly happiness or joy, or I might feel suddenly, wow, I feel a pain in my kidney here. It wasn't there 2 seconds ago. I came in when I hugged. Oh, that's theirs, right? With practice, not overnight. But do you understand? This is how it works. We're talking about animal communication. Telepathy is brain to brain, heart to heart, and then we can exchange both ways too. I can get a message from their heart, and my brain goes, oh my God, I got that. Or reverse. My heart, I can send them love, and their brain can, oh, that feels like love. Right? Okay. So now, let's go one step further of how it works, so we can understand we all have this ability, because that's what I'm trying to impress upon us. In the center of the brain, what do the spiritualists call this? Yeah. Okay, what is it really?
It's,
Yes! Pineal gland, pituitary gland. It's a master gland, 2 master glands that sit in what's called the cave of Brahman. It literally is in the center of the brain, we have like a cave in there that holds these master glands. Why are they positioned here? Like where these two fingers would meet in the middle of the brain. Why are they positioned here? Because they have to be kept sacred, safe. They have to be kept so safe because they are the master glands of the whole physical experience. Without them, we start to wither. So these master glands, which spiritualists call the third eye, must be awakened and exercised in the sense of that exercise, practiced in order to develop our extrasensory abilities. So animal communication, telepathy, therefore we could call that an extrasensory ability. Telepathy is not something over here everyday people are thinking is real. They don't use it, right? Right? Well, how are we going to use it? You have to develop these master glands. But these master glands are already working in people. In fact, what do you see with? What makes you see? Optics. But what are optics?
Lenses.
Lenses.
Lenses, rods, cones.
Exactly. So what do you really, we think we see with our eyes, but what do you really see with?
Your brain.
Your brain. The center of the brain. So this is filtering in light, filtering out light, optics, the whole thing. I don't know exactly how it works, but basically it comes in here, lights come in, makes a registration on the brain sends through the neuroelectrical magnetic system of the body, you know, your nervous system, a message to the left brain, and the left brain goes, oh, light from the ceiling. It's a light, fluorescent light. Oh, it's white light. Oh, light emanating from this. Oh, it's a chair, it's blue. It's kind of this weird blue color. Okay, that's how we do it. But it's the brain. It's the master glands in the center of the brain. Make sense? So this pineal gland and this pituitary gland, very, very important. Is there anyone in the room who thinks you don't have one? Yeah, so we all have all of these abilities so far, right? Nothing that we don't have. Everybody therefore can use it. But what happens is over here when you're walking around in what I call 3D, I'm not the only one who calls it that, using 10% of the brain, drinking Coca-Cola, fluoride in the water, eating McDonald's, genetically modified foods, this does what? What happens to these glands? Calcifies. Pharmaceutical drugs, calcifies. Fluoride in the water, calcifies. Sweet and low, artificial sweeteners, calcifies. So when it calcifies, you can't see as much. You can't see extra sensory things. You can't hear. What's hearing, by the way? What's hearing?
Vibration.
Yeah, you're right. So it's not your ears that hear. They're just tubes, tunnels into where? The brain, the center of the brain. It's these master glands that hear. We were taught, oh, your ears hear. That's like the biggest lies. Kids in school are still being taught that their ears hear. It's not your ears that hear. Those are tubes that vibration of sound, that's right, comes into the brain. And again, oh, I hear that. And now I can label it as this strange woman speaking, saying these weird things. But it's the brain that hears. So when this is getting calcified because you're sitting at home eating genetically modified foods, artificial foods, there's electricity everywhere in the air, you're being bombarded with chemicals, you're being bombarded with, I'm saying you, but I mean all of us, electromagnetic frequencies from computers and cell phones. This is frying the brain. These cell phones, they are, I cannot, even the old versions, I can't put it even close to my ear. I can feel the heat, I feel it frying. I'm so sensory perceptive. I don't know how anyone puts that to their brain. They're so shut down, they can't feel it. But it is frying your brain, right? So all this stuff is numbing down the pineal gland, pituitary gland, and then everyone wonders, is psychic real? Well, of course you're not psychic over here because you can't access it because you've calcified. Okay, but here's the good news. Very easy to decalcify. It's impossible to make it, everything is healable, so to speak. Completely transformational. But what's the first step? 2 first steps to transform it.
Believe that you can.
It's not even a belief, but that is true. It is a belief on some level, but Intent. Why? Because you could believe it's possible, but you could also believe, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, and then you don't do anything about it. It's intent. Why? Because free will is the law. Free will, you have to make the choice. You have to intend it or choose it. I choose it. I don't know if it's possible. You might not have known it's possible, but at least you showed up. You chose it. You came here, you got your body here, you sat here, you were willing to be open. And that is a choice in and of itself. That makes it possible. There's one other thing that's required. Go on.
You're saying I what?
I'm saying the fact that you brought your body here and sat here with an open mind
Okay, I know,
makes it possible.
I know, for instance, precognition
Yes.
is real.
Yes. Yes.
Something strange happened to me. It was December of '85. I started only precognition, but it started happening, and it would happen 3 to 5 times a week, and lasted for about 20 years, and then it kind of started trailing off. And I don't say it doesn't happen now, but it's very infrequent now.
So that precognition, which is a form of psychic gift, you said it was working for you for 20 years and now it's trailing off. Would you say that it's something you'd rather not use or not develop?
I like.
And so why do you feel like it's trailing off now?
I don't know why. It's just started, less frequent. But,
Well, I would suggest that you can call it back to you very easily, and that perhaps part of why it's trailing off is because some aspect of you needs to work with it with more consciousness. So it's like, if a gift is given to you and you take it for granted and you sort of just leave it there, and yeah, you like it, but eventually it'll be like, you might get lost. It's kind of, animals do that too. When we have animals, it's part of why they get lost
but
sometimes.
why did it come in at that particular time?
To wake you up. It's probably a gift. I mean, I can go into the psychic reasons behind it, but I think that's a slight detour from where we are. But what I get is that you have this gift, it's available to you, and it's asking you to work with it with more consciousness, to develop it. It's like if I build a muscle at a gym, or if I just I'm born with a nice big bicep and then I don't ever work it, it eventually weakens unless I go back to the gym or do something to work it out. So these are gifts. They are all gifts. We all have them. We all have the ability to access and develop them. But if we don't use them, we lose them. And then we end up as couch potatoes, wondering if it's real. That's what's happened to humanity. Make sense? I hope that's helpful. But you can develop it and call it back. And even just by simply using your intent, just even asking Divine Source, higher consciousness, bring it back to me. Let me let me start using it again in the highest and best ways that serves in the highest and best. When you're asking for the highest and best, that's Source will. Source is always willing the highest and best ways for all with harm to none. The moment you're asking for that, you're aligned with Source will.
It did happen recently when I anticipated 2 people dying.
So even that, when you say it happened recently and you anticipated 2 people dying, on some level you shut it down after that. Was that disturbing to you or upsetting to you?
I just took note of it.
Okay, well that's good. So you're in neutral.
I just reported it.
Okay, well, but to start, that's a separate conversation, so we can definitely go into it, but maybe not for here now since the focus is on animals. But it's a similar thing. When you're developing your gifts, you're working with Source consciousness and asking Source to assist you that you can use these gifts in the highest and best ways with harm to none. How do I use these gifts to be of service?
But
That's
a
where
while ago you said we are animals. So
we are animals.
those were 2 animals.
Okay. So they were 2 animals. So you had a precog that 2 animals would die. Is that right?
Human animal.
Okay, so you had a precog that 2 human animals would die. I'm offering you something that you can sit with, and then I'm going to move on. You can ask Source, help me to use these gifts, because what you brought up was, I don't like that it's going away, that I'm not being able to use it, or it's that those weren't your words. Your words were, it hasn't been coming anymore. And I'm saying, you have gifts that you can use, but you have to work with them. So the first step is to ask consciousness, your own higher consciousness or source, how do I work with these gifts better so that they don't just go away? In service to the greater good. And if you start there, and then call me again in a week or a month and let me know if that's helpful, because it will be. Make sense?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, or else we can always, I mean, I'm not doing private sessions tonight, but
but I didn't ask for it when it started though.
got it. All right, so I'm going to move on because I need
All
to. I would be happy to help you with more, but we have to move on.
Right.
So, all right, so now, where was I with the, so, okay, so we got the pineal gland, pituitary gland, we understand the 5 brainwaves, we understand the heart. One other way animals communicate. Touch, but let's go even deeper. What happens, who's ever gotten goosebumps? Yeah, what is that? I got goosebumps. And then we dismiss it like it's insignificant, but meanwhile, there's something that's somehow, that's not physical, that's like really pinging you. And it's waking you up on some level. So this is what I'm saying, is like, that's extrasensory. If we dismiss it as insignificant, make sense? Okay, so they have that too. So they can send that extrasensory information to us. That's another way we can exchange information. Make sense? Okay, cool. Now, these are the ways that animal communication and telepathy works. All of this is scientifically real and valid, because we can explain it scientifically, but nonetheless it is extrasensory because the bulk of us aren't using it. Make sense? We're all on the same page. Let's talk about energy. So, how am I on time? Because I have no, okay. So it's at 10 to 8. Okay, good. So, energy. This is the thing about energy. All energy, everything is energy. In fact, we know this from Einstein, right? E equals mc squared means energy is everything in perpetual motion, and it just transmutes itself, right? So for example, a good example of energy transmuting itself is, give me an example. I take water and I turn water into ice. Or I take some form of air or wind and I turn it into power, electricity. That's all tangible things. But if Einstein's theory is true, that means it applies to everything, including us, right? This is like no-brainer for everyone in this room because you've heard this before. But so then what happens in terms of energy that's in perpetual motion? That would mean that when the physical body dies, that energy transmutes into something else. Okay, so we know that 3Ders, mainstreamers might think, well, you become a tree. Your body dies, you become a plant, you become earth. That's one way to look at it, but another way to look at it also is there's a consciousness in this body. Like, where does a thought begin? Where does a thought, who's thinking? That's like the thinker. You know the famous sculptor, the thinker? And who is the thinker? Who's doing the thinking? The consciousness. There's no way to trace where a thought begins or where a thought ends, or where an emotion begins. We can sort of link the thought up, drives the emotion. This is just forms of energy transmuting. So therefore, if an animal is in a body, including a human animal, and that body dies, that consciousness is another form of energy that transmutes itself, yes? So it's just another way to explain it scientifically, that that consciousness continues to live even after they physically crossed over, or physically doesn't have a body. That consciousness is perpetual energy in motion. All right, now let's talk about that other part of the energy, which is movement and vibration. So the vibration, the movement of that energy that's constantly transmuting, that movement is a speed, right? It can be measurable in a speed, right? So what's the speed? What is that called? A frequency, exactly. So we can also measure different energies from a non-scientific approach, from more of an everyday human approach. We can measure those energies with labels of words. So for example, what is this energy?
Anger.
Yeah. And you can feel it in the room. And what it, let's, jeez, I can feel it. So that, and then what is this energy? Yeah, okay, some kind of like welcoming or sweetness, right? But so the animal already feels that he doesn't have to label that as anger. You're stomping around, where the fuck are my keys? Gotta go home late. Animals go and cower under the bed, right? Because he's like, whoa, we're gonna stay away from that, right? But he can feel that energy, and he knows he might not use the word anger unless he's learned that word. Because when we come out the womb, we don't necessarily know, a language of 700 words. By the way, it's so funny, people who study animals, like, they study dolphins, they're like, oh, they can learn 700 words. I'm like, okay, that's what you think they can learn. That's your perspective based on what you've taught them. They can learn way more than that. So they might not label that energy with the word. They might not have ever heard the word anger, but somewhere in their consciousness, they're like, that's anger. Somehow they understand, and they know that energy because they identify that frequency. They're sponges. They can feel it because it reverberates, just like we could feel it in this room 2 seconds after I stopped. I was like, well, I got to come back into neutral because I feel it. Make sense? So when you come in the house and you're feeling love, oh, I'm so excited. He's like, I can't wait to see my human. Because he's excited, right? We know what excitement is. Okay, these are all energies. So here's the energy, the vibration of the energy, and we feel it. So if you walk in, for example, to a meditation, like the moment I walked in here, I was like, this is so nice in here. Did you hear me? Wasn't I like that? Yeah. Oh, this store's so nice. Look at all the crystals. It feels good in here, doesn't it? It feels so good because the people are conscious in here. They bring conscious people. There's the crystals everywhere, angels, doing signs that make you happy, right? That's an energy. Now, if you go into a hospital, if you're a sensitive, you walk in the hospital, you're, oh man, oh yeah, I don't care how quickly. You walk in a funeral home, you're like, how quickly can I get out of here? Oh, it's so sad. You get depressed. So we're already sensory. We're just denying that energy. Why are we lying to ourselves? So the animals feel that too. So let's take it even a step forward from this perspective. Let's say you're working. Anyone here work for somebody else in a job, like 9 to 5 type of job? Anyone? No? You? Just you, Mary? You're the only one? You're a dental hygienist. Anyone else?
Do?
No?
Well, when you say 9 to 5.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. You go into another environment. I'm sorry.
Oh, is that what you mean? Okay, yes.
Yes. You go into the environment and you're around other people, and then when you come home, and you walk in the door, now is the place where you do what? What's the first thing almost? Now, what have you just done? You've just dropped all that energy in the house. And the animal is extrasensory. So they're picking it up. They're feeling it now. Let's say there's a repeating pattern over and over and over again. I hate my boss, that stupid boss. So mad at that boss every night I come home. Eventually that pattern, it's like a ripple effect, the animal's going to be feeling it every night. Every day you come home. And eventually the animal's going to pick that energetic up and start to embody it. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to dovetail to laws. Go back to the laws. Remember we talked about cause and effect? There's some we talked about law of free will. There's some major universal laws that are role players here. So, for example, what's the most famous universal law?
Gravity.
No, that's nature, law of nature. What's the most famous?
So energy cannot be created, or matter cannot be created.
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Who said it? You did? Law of attraction. Everybody's like, oh, I want to attract to me happiness, so I'm just going to pretend to be happy. I'm going to deny I'm miserable and pretend that I'm not. I'm going to just say affirmations, and then eventually get frustrated. These friggin' affirmations aren't working. I'm so miserable, right? Because law of attraction's ignoring some of the other laws. They work too. But let's just say, law of attraction is based on this. And I'll explain why this is relevant to the animals, so stay with me. The first law, in this case, creation. Law of creation. I'm a creator. I'm a creator in a body. And I am creating every thought, every emotion, every action is creation in action, right? 3 different forms: thought, emotion, magnetic from the heart center, action from the whole body, taking some action, okay? Therefore, I am creating. My thoughts are creative. They are electric. This is electricity coming from here, like a cell phone tower. This is magnetic coming from here. It tracks. That's why if I feel good, I might attract something that makes me feel good. Law of attraction's real, but law of attraction's not first saying, okay, you are the creator, you're creating. Your thoughts are creative. Okay, it does say that. But now here, law of radiation. Law of creation says I'm the creator. Law of radiation, I radiate out from me that which I create. Make sense? That's law of radiation. I radiate out that which I create from me. Now, there's another law. What's the next law? These are universal laws. You can believe them or not. It doesn't matter. They're laws. They're true. They apply to our entire universe, whether we understand it or not. Next law, law of circulation. There's this whole reality. What happens? Where does it go? Where does the thought go? Where does the emotion go? Where does what I radiate out go to? Yeah, I radiate it out and then it circulates.
It stays, right?
Now, wait, it circulates in the field, and then what does it do? It tracks out, it radiates out things and attracts other things too. So let's just play with this. If I give you $1, I don't have $1 right now. If I give you $1, a belief system is, I give you $1, I have one less. But the universal law works. She goes out, she gives this $1, now she spends it somewhere else, and she buys something, and then she's got, and then, now all of a sudden there's all these dollars circulating around the field. And then next week I go like, oh, you know what, I'm ready to have, I think I'm ready to make some money. And all of a sudden I just do something, and all of a sudden I get paid $20. Or somebody makes a donation for me, and I don't make the connection that I just gave $1 away. But this is the way it works. It's circulating, it's amplifying, law of amplification or multiplication. It increases, and then attraction. It attracts back to me. These are all universal laws. This is making sense. Is everybody with me on this?
Yes.
So let's apply it to animals. By the way, if you use it for money, I invite you, empathically and emphatically invite you to go donate $10 tonight somewhere, and just for fun, donate $10 and watch that within 1 week, that $10 will come back to you as 100. Because the laws are always in effect. And the only way it won't happen to you is if you sit there going, I don't think it's going to work. I don't believe it. Because then your law of free will, she doesn't want it, she doesn't want to believe it. Okay, law of free will takes precedence, and we'll say, she has a free will to believe it, therefore we'll give her that truth. That's why beliefs are powerful, it's just that they can be changed. Okay, you with me? Everyone with me? Mm-hmm. So, let's apply this to animals. I go out in the world, I'm living my life, and all of a sudden, I've been angry at my mother-in-law. I'm angry at her for whatever reason. She's not doing what I think she should do, she's making me mad, I'm carrying it with me. I'm thinking about it, it's bugging me, it's circulating in my brain, the thoughts are going out, I feel an emotion, because every thought is connected to an emotion. Every thought inspires. If I tell you right now, think of blue butterflies, everybody's going to feel a little good. And if I tell you think of sewage, yeah, everybody's going to immediately, because it's that fast. Your thought inspires an emotion that fast, right? Now it circulates in the field, and the rest of the field is feeling it. Now, if I'm carrying that, and I come home day after day, you can see this is going to affect the animals and the environment. Does this make sense? So why is this so important? Who in the room has an animal with a physical health issue? Anyone? Okay. 1, 2, 3, at least 4. That physical health issue is stemming from you. That's hard to believe. But if you understand, what's that?
What if they already had it when you got them?
Okay, good, that's a good question. So we don't, and this is not about making us wrong. I neglected to say something so important, because I just do this in consciousness, but I just heard you have to tell them this. Understand, our animals, I'm going to come back to this, right? Our animals have a divine mission. This is probably where, I do this so from flow, but they have a divine mission, and this is really important to understand. What is the divine mission of animals? Their sacred contract and purpose as a kingdom of animals, non-human animals,
To heal mankind, or to heal.
to help,
Or to heal.
to be of service. And the way they do it is one of 3 ways, well, really one of 2 ways, but 3 ways we could say. So what might those 3 ways be?
Like make honey with your bee or something like that?
Well, that's true, but let's be more global.
Global.
Number 1 is
Provide
to
food.
heal.
Well,
To
buy
heal.
food too.
No, that's a belief system. That's a belief. It's not universally true that that's their job. In fact, okay, I don't want to go into the debate on that, so let's just stay here. Number one, to heal us. So when we're having energetics, what they do is, on some level, it's like if I take this on from the human that I live with, who I love, this will lessen their burden, and simultaneously, this will help them perceive what's going on with some objectivity, some degree, because they can't see it in themselves or else they would have stopped it. But if they see it in me, they'll be able to somehow, from a distance, somehow be aware in a way that they weren't aware, right? So heal, to help us heal, and by very virtue of this, to somehow expand our consciousness, because then we can, like, oh, this person's had this problem with this leg for so long, this animal, my animal, I don't understand why this, I can't, no matter what I do, I've gone to Reiki healers, I've gone to this, it's still there, what's going on? But meanwhile, we're expanding our consciousness through the whole journey. So that's the second way. Does that make sense? Everyone with me? Those are the two ways. The third way is essentially more like to have an experience. To expand consciousness through experience. And in that way, food could potentially be an aspect of that. Because, of course, there's all...
Well, she said bees, and I thought pollinators, and if pollinators die, then you don't get crops, so...
Right. And that's true, but we're talking like more from a universal perspective that applies to all animals. So even whales, for example, who live in the ocean, and dolphins, they are healing the waters, even though they don't live with a human. They're still healers. And they're helping us to learn about frequency and energy. Whale song is like this beautiful love song that the whales sing to the water. That love affects the water, which affects the whole planet, and heals the planet, heals the water. Same with dolphins, echolocation, that high-pitched frequency. So from a global perspective, we could put it into those three categories. They're healers, they're teachers, and they're companions having a human or an animal experience. And they might be having a human-animal bond, or they're just having an animal experience that might be not directly connected to one individual human. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
We can go into the food part later if you want to, but just to keep on topic with this for now, if we then go to the part where our animal's having a health issue, we can make the direct connection that that health issue that that animal is experiencing is vibratory. It's vibratory. What is a vibrator? What does that mean? It's an energetic frequency. And if it's a health issue, it's going to vibrate energetically in harmony with something that is dense or heavy, right? So dense, heavy vibrations, anger, resentment, judgment, blame, shame, sorrow, guilt, regret, none of them feel good. They're all heavy. They weigh us down. We walk around in life like, oh, life sucks. I got too much on my back. I can't. Might as well just give up. Where we get blind. I don't want to see the world anymore. Don't like what I see. We turn blind. Or I don't want to hear. I'm blocking things out. We turn deaf. That's what we do to ourselves. We don't know we're doing it. These are all energetic frequencies that vibrate in harmony with this range of energies that are dense and heavy. And in this density, that's where illness is, right? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the lightness of energies that feel good, what are those?
Love, compassion.
Yes!
Forgiveness,
Joy.
Yes! Love, peace, joy. By the way, I think I forgot at one point to say the other thing that's the pivotal part to the heart is compassion. Compassion is what opens the heart. When we can feel compassion, that's actually a huge, we could use the word gateway in this case, or portal, even though that's not what a portal or a gateway is at all. But it's an opening that allows the rest of the gifts to open. Because if we can't have compassion, these gifts don't really get turned on.
So if you're an empath, that automatically, or not necessarily, I mean...
If you're an empath, you're already a compassionate person,
Right.
or animal. The animals are compassionate.
Right.
They don't have to learn compassion. We have to learn it. We don't really have to learn it, but from our experience, we have to remember it, really. So in any case, just energetically, when we're talking about vibration, these dense, heavy vibrations are the energies we associate with illness and suffering, sadness, grief, sorrow, and they ultimately move very slow. What's the speed of these vibrations? I mean, what's the speed of anger? And now suddenly I have some kind of arthritis, or tension in my knees, or I'm so angry, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. My kidneys start getting blocked. Or I'm pissed off and I have urinary tract infection. That's that energy. That's a range of energy. What's the primary vibratory range? What are these all vibrating in harmony with? I wouldn't think they're harmony, but they vibrate in harmony. What do they vibrate in harmony with?
The emotions.
Well, they're all emotions.
Your major
You know the answer. Fear. These are fear-based emotions. Over here, when I'm clear, what are these emotions? Love. They vibrate in harmony with love, peace, happiness, joy, celebration, sweetness, kindness, compassion. These vibrations are so peaceful and peacefully flowing. They don't cause any stuckness. There's no illness here. This isn't really through the body. There's no illness because everything's flowing. But here it's so heavy and dense, it gets tense, right? So now, if I'm walking around, 90% of my brain, average person here we're talking, is unconscious. I'm thinking thoughts about something that's making me really angry, something, someone, either this lifetime or maybe even from another. Babies who come in to the body with illness into the life, could be from another lifetime, unresolved on the deathbed. I get it, we're expanding our consciousness here. So if that's how they come in, or we're carrying it, we're unconscious of it, we came here in this lifetime to heal it, but we're walking around with it and we're sharing an environment with our animal. Can you see, have I explained this, how it works? That the animal's basically feeling it. Now if the animal comes into the life, to answer your question, and they already have it, it's still a vibrational match. Why? You have to vibrate in match. You have to vibrate in harmony with something. Think about this way. It's the same concept, everything we've built on before. If I'm radiating out something to me, and then I'm attracting, circulating around, I'm attracting something back to me, and that something comes in the package of an animal with an illness, I already have that vibration in my field. I cannot attract something to me that I'm not vibrationally harmonious with. Does this make sense? Therefore, even if I adopt an animal who already has that, somehow I vibrationally attracted it to me. Somewhere there's a vibrational overlap. Make sense? Still not making sense. Help me understand what you're confused about.
Why would I attract an animal that has an illness?
Why would you?
I don't know. I don't have the same illness.
I'm listening. I mean, I know what the answer is, but I'm asking what answer I'm meant to give you that's for your best. Okay, so this animal who you live with is helping you to expand what you already know and to heal and resolve something that's lying dormant, which you're not fully conscious of. And unless this animal comes into your life, this is what we call a sacred agreement, contract, divine agreement, pre-agreement, which everything's a pre-agreement. But I'll explain that again in a moment. This animal's come into your life to help you, to heal and resolve and expand on the consciousness that you have regarding some issue which has been long-standing but suppressed or denied. Does this make some more sense?
I don't know. My last two animals both had pre-existing conditions when I adopted them.
Were they the same or different?
No, totally different.
Okay,
Unknown
whatever it
when
is
I-
though, understand,
Unknown to me when I got them.
right, unknown to
Yeah.
you. But somewhere then there's a belief system, I have this a little more psychically, but sometimes it's some belief system that's in place, because again, this is emanating from us, that maybe there's a victim relationship that needs to be healed. Victim, where we've been victimized, or where we have to learn somehow to develop greater compassion or to open our hearts to become softer or gentler or kind. It's still some kind of resolution. So anyway, does this, at least for now, makes some sense from a left, even from a left brain, from a left analytical brain, because you're searching for the deeper meaning, which is beautiful. You're already opening for the deeper meaning. But can you understand just from the left brain, how all of this, how it makes sense? It's hard for you. It's okay, it's okay. I mean, you're learning, right? I want to just say that even though you might not get it this moment, what's really coming in here is a vibrational range. So there's a vibrational range of information that's really new, and you're elevating into it. And right now your left brain can't make sense of it, but I'd be willing to bet that within a week, it will become part of your knowing. Maybe not quite a week, maybe it might be 10 days, maybe it might be less, but it will become part of your knowing, as if you knew it. Maybe not all of it, maybe not that you would stand up and teach it, but just, oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, it makes more sense. Because really, this is simply a range. I never committed this stuff to memory. I just started learning it. It became part of my consciousness. Now I don't write notes or anything. I just know it. Because I'm vibrationally in harmony with this new information. It's not so new to me anymore, but you will become too. Does that make sense? That's the most important thing to get, because everything is vibration. And we're shifting out of an old reality that's based on just an analytical approach to living. And we're shifting into a new reality that's based entirely on energy and vibration. So just to the best of your ability, at least for now, just start to surrender to that is going to become part of your knowing. You're going to understand it better with a new mind. Make sense? Okay, that said, there was something else that was so important I needed to say. We were talking about the energy, the vibration, the laws, and we were talking about the wounds of the that the animals have in their bodies, and I don't know what that was, so if it's meant to come through, it will. Let me check on time. Okay, so we kind of need a little bit of a break, I think. How are you guys doing? Do you feel like you need a break? No? No?
Somebody needed a break.
You want a break? Yeah, so why don't we just take a break? And for those of you who want to stay, I'm going to talk a little bit more, just to elaborate on this. Because what I would like to offer you is, after the break time, is a little bit of another meditation where we access the Theta Brainwave, and you just kind of sense the difference that way. But I also would love to offer you some potential insights for your own animals, if I can do that. I understand this is what I'm getting. Can you tell me your first name?
Kathy.
Kathy. So this is just more psychic, it's not animal communication, but just for you to be aware that Kathy, that in this lifetime, and prior to this lifetime, you've been, I'm going to use the word victimized. And understand, we've all been victimized. We have all dealt with a part of us that has been so hurt, and where we either we did not get the needs our needs met, and so in that state we felt victimized. It doesn't necessarily mean you're raped, or you're abused, or someone stole from you or ran you over with a car. Victimization in this case is more like where we felt like something happened to us that was not our fault, that we didn't do, and we didn't create. We were the victim. And that you see this in the Me Too movement in a way, women standing up and saying, that guy raped me, that famous producer, bribed me, made me give him sexual pleasure. You see how this Me Too movement is coming up where women are saying, I'm not going to be your fall guy. And they're coming out of their victim. Is this right? This is what the Me Too movement is. Women saying, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. So they're coming from victimization into victory. And that's the job of the victim. But what I understand is that this animal is helping you to heal the part of you that has been not cared for properly, not loved properly, who has felt like a victim, and by healing other victims, you're healing your own victim. You're healing others by loving them, by caring for them, these animals, and in so doing, you're learning this very basic kind of love and care that you didn't get when you felt, not just this lifetime, as a victim, that you didn't get your needs met. So you're providing to these animals the very thing that you needed. Does this make
The
sense?
unconditional love
Yes.
that an animal gives you.
Yes. And this is opening your heart as you give to them and care for them. You're getting to know yourself as a loving being for the first time because nobody ever gave you or showed you that love. Does that make sense?
She was always the stepchild who's in the other.
Right. She doesn't want to
residence.
share the attention.
Right.
And so that is a reflection of you as a child. Is it?
I didn't get any.
Okay, you did, that's right. You didn't get it. Someone else took all the attention, right?
I was a doorknob.
Okay, so this is an opportunity. This cat is in your life, this other animal, to help you heal and resolve that.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I just want the cat to know that these are house guests. And
No, because, no, what you want the cat to know is what you want to know. There's enough love for everyone.
There is enough love.
There's
for her.
more than enough love for everyone. That's what's really being called for. Because when you say they're house guests, you're saying, don't worry, it's only temporary. It's only temporary where you don't get all the attention and love you want. And what I would invite you to say, with your energy, with your consciousness, with your awareness is, there's more than enough.
Right.
More than enough love for all of us.
I brush him now every day. I give him extra attention. You know, I just, because I know.
Yeah, but even the extra attention is you compensating for the part of you that believes you have to compensate because there's not enough for him. Someone else is taking.
Right. And there really is.
And there is enough. Look how much more love comes in. This animal's bringing in even more love into our home.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
This
if I'm
animal
really
is here
keeping
because
them.
we have so much love to offer and to share. That's a different perspective. And if you, I promise you, if you do that for just a couple of days, you really embody that. This dynamic between them will shift.
I hope so, because one has been around a cat before, and the cat died, and it keeps going, I want to be your friend.
Right, so let's just do a really quick healing on the two issues, because we never did the healing on everything's possible for us, right?
Right.
So let's do a healing on there's the love part, that there's enough love for everyone. A lot of times when animals have dynamics, are we on, Carolina?
Yes.
Oh. A lot of times when animals have dynamics where two animals are like fighting or at odds in the house, it's because there's competition. And the competition is stemming from a belief system in that household, linked into the human, of course, that, you know, there's not enough love to go around. So we have to, why does competition exist in our old reality? I have to beat you out for what I want. There's not enough. But you see, when we align with Source, and we start recognizing Source is infinite love. Source is infinite consciousness. Source is infinite abundance. Source is the provider of all that is. And we have the ability to access that Source, because it's everywhere, in everyone, in everything, no matter what word, it's just about us attuning to it. Then, that love is here now. There's no competition anymore. It's like, let's all have it. Make sense? So I want to do a healing on those two things. Right before I do, I just want to do a brief commercial announcement. So, and I know Carolina will talk more about this at the end if you have questions, and she's really been such an angel to me helping with this stuff. But let me just say, so first, yeah, most of what I do is online. I travel and I do these kinds of things as love offering. Tonight's a love offering, it's gifted. And we just, you know, we love to receive an offering so we can help pay for our expenses to make these things available. But most of my work comes from online classes and workshops and seminars online. I do a lot of live events that are really one-time only events. Like one of my monthly, or it's usually, these happen quarterly. So one of my quarterly events is Sacred Energy Healing Activations for People and Animals. We do this kind of energy healing, only intensified, because there's no class really, for ourselves and for our animals. And we work with the Animal Collective. Those are announced through my newsletter for people who want to participate online. I have another event which is called Ascension, Manifestation, and Healing Circles. This is more directly connected to what I'll be doing here tomorrow night. But we do DNA activations, dormant DNA activations and energy healing. And we use manifestation and the tools of manifestation to heal the planet and to really realign our collective experience with something that is more benevolent for everyone. Because we have great power when we understand that Source is willing our will. When we align with Source's will, which is the greatest good of all beings concerned, with harm to none. How good is that? Everybody wins. There's enough, infinite. Okay, that's one of the online events. And then one of the other online events I do is a sacred government call where we just only focus on working on the planet. Because most light workers now, if you're a light worker, if you're aligning with that word, what we tend to do is we see a problem on the planet and then we heal it afterwards. But actually on these sacred government calls that are online, and they're like $22, we actually do healing before something ever happens. So we do use in some way our precog, but also we understand we're getting divine guidance. Work on this area, create this for the collective needs this. Those are online. Then another one I do, which is the most popular of all of them, is called speed activations. So speed activations are we work with dormant key codes and dormant energetics in our bodies. I remember the other thing I forgot to say to you guys before. To awaken the dormant knowings within us. And again, that's linked into what I'll be doing more tomorrow night. So I'm just telling you, those are things I do online. But the big classes, my brief commercial announcement here, these are the list of all my courses. And of course, they include animal communication and telepathy. And one of the ones that I highly recommend, which is one of my favorites, is vibrational energy healing and meditation with animals and for animals. And this includes humans. It's a healer's class, but it's also a meditation. It's not a meditation class. It's about how to bring your animal into conscious meditation. Because animals actually meditate. And they love it just like we do. So anyway, there's all the classes are here. You can grab this flyer. They're over here. You can ask us about them afterwards, so I'll stick around. And then the other thing I really recommend is the Sacred Membership Group. This is a year-long membership. It has over 100 hours of content. If you think that this is rich content, like I'm not just giving you, something, I feel like we're putting a lot of content. It has everything. It has stuff on the Akashic records. It has stuff on animal communication and intuition, psychic intuition, energy healing, your star family races, extraterrestrial nations, Ascension, DNA activation, sacred key code. I mean, hours and hours of meditation and healing. There's ebooks in there. All my books are in here. You can buy them on Amazon, but you can get them in here. There's an entire class called The Secret Energy of Money and the Spiritual Laws of Wealth, aka Susie Orman Doesn't Know Crap.
Manifestation.
All about tons of stuff on manifestation. It's so rich. It's so worth it. If you go to my website, it's $4.44. This flyer gives you a $100 coupon. If you get it tonight, I'll offer it 50% off, $222 for a year membership. Okay, tons of stuff, plus more than I can say. This flyer you're welcome to take and share with others. It's got all the free gifts I give. And as long as we have your email, we're going to send you extra free gifts. Because I like to give. So make sure we have your email and that we can read it.
Yeah, does anybody need to do that?
Yours needs to be on there. Yours needs to be on there. Okay, so. All right, so we're going to do that healing, and I want to address your question on the heart, okay? But let's first just do the healing part on everything is possible for us, because we didn't do that one, right? We never did that. Okay, so I'm listening in a moment of what Source wants. And it's very simple. It just wants to identify within you, with your collective, with your agreement, your individual agreement, your consent, everywhere you believe things are not possible for you, impossible for you. You believe it's impossible, including everywhere you believe and or perceive and or project, everywhere you've created, miscreated. It's not possible for me. Whatever it is, whether it's animal communication, telepathy, or anything else that you've dreamed of or wished for or hoped for or desired, everywhere and anywhere you ever made it true, real, or right, that it's, whatever it is not possible for you. By the way, on replay, this will work as well. The energy's live, it's straight from source. Everywhere you've believed and or bought into it and or made it true, both conscious and unconscious, both known to you and unknown, real or imagined, this lifetime and every other, including in between lifetimes, wherever you made it impossible for you, everything that is and everything that brings up with your consent will now be identified from within and around you, your entire morphogenetic field, and with your consent lifted, removed, dissolved, and taken away and transmuted into love and light, that you never again need to perpetuate it and or recreate it, so you're done and complete with it once and for all, once and forever. And what will be replaced within you is source consciousness, that everything is possible for you. If you're willing to receive this now, source's truth, source's point of view, source's perspective, understanding, and definition, that everything is possible for you, everything is available to you. With your conscious consent, breathe, receive, and allow. So you want to breathe. I thought we did do this. I don't know. Maybe I'm having a little, maybe we did do it and I forget. I don't know. Deja vu. Breathe, receive, and allow. Let me get out of the way while it's being done. Go. Shifting energetics here. So you're just taking a deep, comfortable breath. There we go. Yes. And you know, I say yes too because I'm always receiving that which I'm providing as well. Nice heart centers. Heart centers coming into alignment in this group here, which means actually we're coming into resonance in the heart center, which is nice. It means the group is elevated to a higher frequency of love through this circle. It's like women who hang out together start having periods together. It's resonance. Second part was, the second thing we were speaking about was enough love for everyone. So let's have source's truth, point of view, and perspective, understanding, and definition instilled within you and within every cell of your body and being, with your consent, of course, that there's enough love for everyone. There's enough of everything for everyone. There's enough water, there's enough money, there's enough abundance, there's enough prosperity, there's enough happiness, there's enough joy, there's enough consciousness, there's enough wealth, there's enough of everything for everyone, and you are one of the ones of everyone, so therefore there's enough for you too. If you're willing to have this consciousness and even greater, Source would like to provide, Source's truth, point of view, and put on enough of all that is available to you. If you'd like to have that and have it instilled within you and within every cell of your body and being now, with and from Source consciousness, and the awakening of Source consciousness from within you, please breathe, receive, and allow. You give your consent. You take a deep, comfortable breath and you say, yes, thank you. And then you just notice in the breath.
Yes, thank you.
And I get out of the way while Source does the work. We just notice whatever we notice, that we allow Source to do the healing with us and for us. And just nice, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you. This is done. Do you guys notice a slight lightness there? A little more lightness? Source is just light. It's light, right? Love and light. It always feels a little lighter. And even if you don't notice it at first, it's usually because you're more still in your left brain, but it's shifting you, changing things slowly, benevolently. Yeah? And then the next time you come back, you're suddenly an expert on things you didn't even know you were an expert on, or something like that. All right, so let me go to the heart thing, and then we can do a few questions. Oh my. Can we go a little over? Are we okay with going a little over?
Sure.
You
Okay,
actually
good.
had 2 times. On your flyers, they were until 9:30, and on
Oh.
TV, it was 9.
Okay, I don't know. It's because we're doing like 10 events this week or something. I don't even know how many that is. I think we did 9. We're doing a total of maybe 8. I can't remember. But anyhow, that's probably confused it. So that's good then. We have a little more time. Okay, good. I want to address the heart. So during the breaks, you had asked me about the heart center. And the animal has a heart condition. and so does the husband. So we can see that's a reflection of what we've been discussing here. And that the heart condition is a vibration of energy where this center of the body is out of alignment with source, out of vibrational harmony with love, peace, joy, happiness, compassion, these frequencies. So there's a density here that's fear-based, where sadness, usually heart, we're talking about some sadness, grief, sorrow, a lack of love, a perceived lack of love, right? That creates heart conditions in this energy center. Does that make sense? So what is the condition that the dog has specifically?
All I know is it's just a heart, that's all I know is it's just a heart problem. I don't know.
So the doctor, did the dog go to the doctor?
No,
Oh, how do you know that there's a heart problem there?
I just sense it or
Yeah.
believe it.
Okay, because you're sensory being. You're sensory being with sensory awareness. And does the husband have something too, already diagnosed by a doctor?
Mhm.
And what was the specific diagnosis that the doctor gave?
Heart failure, he has just 16% of his heart
Okay.
is good.
Are you the wife?
Mhm.
Okay. If he's willing, if he goes home every night, and everyone can do this for this week or as often, I mean, not a week, it's not going to heal it, but put the hands on the heart unless the last few minutes of the evening before you go to sleep and the first few minutes before you wake up and any time else throughout the day, take a few minutes with the hands on the heart and just gently circle and just say, God, source, infinite love, let my heart know love in this body. Let me love, let me love. Let me know compassion, let me feel compassion. Let love and compassion, let this heart feel and experience love and compassion. And then breathe. Just deep, comfortable breaths in through the heart. A few minutes before sleeping and a few minutes before waking. And throughout the day, if you can, 1, 2, 3 minutes. Imagine if your husband did that each night. The truth is the heart could heal very quickly. Doctor doesn't know that. But source can heal all. The problem is when we pray, in our society, we've been taught to pray from, I don't have this, God. It's not here. And so we sometimes think it's not being answered, but the truth is we're coming from an energetic, fear-based, and energy matches the fear, right? Law of attraction. If we're down here, my heart's, I can't heal, whatever it is, I don't know, whatever, that energy is only going to radiate out, encircle, attract more of the same. But here, I'm breathing in love. And breathing in compassion. Source, let this heart know love. Let this heart know compassion. Let it feel. Let it experience love and compassion. That's what the heart longs for. Let there be happiness and joy here. Now, if he's willing to do that much, if he's willing, I would be willing to bet that would help. The other thing is, I can hear there's an exit strategy. That's a separate issue. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. Does that make sense?
Does the dog, do they know why they're sick, or do they just feel bad? Or do they know?
Well, it depends on what level of consciousness we tap into, right? Because does your husband know why he's sick?
No, he
No,
doesn't.
but some part of his consciousness knows. Absolutely knows. We call that the high self, right? So the dog has the same thing. All animals have that same thing. They have the personality self that's kind of like, give me a ball, or oh, I'm depressed, or I'm hungry, or my human's not feeding me, you know, that kind of thing. And then they have a high self too. And they have a soul self that goes through the experience that's kind of an aspect of that. And all these aspects are kind of in separation, but really in truth, they're all part of that one as we come into alignment. Does that make sense? Did I answer that? Heart conditions typically, I mean, I get that this is, when the doctor says there's 16% of heart capacity left, I'm not the person who's gonna come in here and be like, oh, I've got your cure. But I know at the root cause, that's what's going on. On a physical level, ubiquinol strengthens the heart. Ubiquinol is a supplement that you can buy in a Whole Foods store. And I mean, in a private session, I would muscle test to find out the right amount, but a lot of ubiquinol. And also, there's other things that can strengthen the heart muscle, but that's a CoQ10, ubiquinol, which are kind of the same product. Anyway, there's more. If you want more on that, you can ask me. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, there's other things coming up even, but I think for now, I hope that's helpful. Okay, so, all right, is this making sense to everybody? All right, does anyone want to ask questions about your animals? And then what we'll do is we'll do a meditation where we can reconnect now that we have all this information, that we understand more about how it works. Does that sound good? But we can do some questions. Yes?
May I ask about an animal that's passed?
Yes?
My son keeps asking for when is he coming back, and
What's the animal's name?
Millhouse.
Millhouse. So, but I kind of get that your question is more like you don't know what to say to your son. It's not about the animal who's passed. Let's talk about reincarnation for a second. So, what reincarnation really is the consciousness leaves the physical experience of this story. The consciousness checks into another dimension of reality, which I identify as fourth dimension initially. And as that consciousness considers and reviews the experiences, the consciousness then gets to vibrate energetically to a new frequency of love, acceptance, peace, and then makes a new choice about how that consciousness, that soul, wants to continue. Do I want to come back to that family? Do I want to stay with this? I'm energetically still entangled with this group of beings, soul family. I didn't resolve that. I'd like to fix that. Now, there's more. I'm sort of oversimplifying it because there's other factors too. But generally speaking, that animal, and it could, human, could make a choice and say, I want to come back and work on that again. I want to resolve those. Or they're so entangled, they don't know how to get disentangled. I got to go. I got to find a way to get out of this mess. So that would be a choice to come into a new body and reincarnate. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So when you ask, is an animal coming back, or with a child, because I'm trying to incorporate how you respond to your child too. That maybe one of the things to do is to use it a little bit like a teaching tool. Like, well, do you think that if we ask him that he might come back in another body? Because he might. When did he cross over?
5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, do you want to hear what I'm getting?
Yeah, please.
I'm hearing that animal has moved on.
Okay.
Because his progression at that time wasn't as entangled with the family, or that the family wasn't ready for that kind of a reincarnation experience. Here's the good news, is that I'm hearing that this animal at a point in linear time could still come back to you. He's still in your soul family group. It's just he was ready to come back sooner than you were ready to have a new dog. Oh.
I feel like I held him back.
You can't hold them back. I don't agree with that statement that we hold them back. I agree that we are entangled through our sometimes grief, and that energetic needs to be healed and resolved, but you can't hold back because everything's sacred contract. Everything's pre-agreement. We agree, we go through issues, we have to heal something, they have to heal, they want to help us. They get glorified when we are like, thank you for helping me. When we start recognizing the gifts that they've given to us, and through that recognition, when we start celebrating them. So there's no holding back. What there is learning, healing, growing, evolving, evolve. Source wants to evolve, just like we do. We want to evolve our consciousness. We want to expand. Source is always expanding. So animals are aspect of source in body, and they want to expand. But what I was hearing is that this animal, as I connect with the consciousness of this animal, and I'm translating what I'm getting, that this animal progressed to another embodiment, and that when this embodiment is done, there could be a divine intersection at a point in time and space, which we could associate with linear time, where he can come back to you, and that potential exists. And that when that animal comes back, if you line up with that by your choice and consent, that you will be much more progressed, your family will, and that the receiving of that animal would provide increased opportunity for more growth and expansion for all. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So it's not like he can't come back, it's just at this time, it's not the timing for it.
How do they come back? How do you know that that's your animal, or you reconnect with that animal?
Well, so this is part of her question. In a way, one of the ways you can reconnect is simply by recognizing you're part of a soul family. We're all soul family. We're even part of an over soul family, otherwise we wouldn't be syncing up and meeting at this point in time and space. So through that connection, you're still connecting with the consciousness of that being. I mean, that is an animal communication thing. Like, I've helped a lot of my friends who are all healers, and like their animals have crossed, and they're like, can you please help me reconnect with them and make a divine appointment? It's kind of in a similar way. It's like if you're on Match.com or a dating site, and you're like, okay, I'll meet you at Starbucks at 9 o'clock. You'll be wearing the red tie, I'll wear the red hat with the checkered shirt, and I'll sit in the back corner, and I'll be reading, did you see when not Harry's met Sally, and You Got Mail? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. We'll meet up at this point in time, but it's happening energetically, it's happening vibrationally. We do have to make these kind of agreements, and we have to make sure it's possible in the sense that everything's possible, but in the sense that that soul agrees and you agree. So part of it is through communication, part of it's energetic, part of it's agreements and contracts. Makes sense? And part of it is, here's the higher knowing, all things exist. If you want to get into this tomorrow night. All things exist, all things that ever have existed, ever will exist here and now. That's true. The question is, will you line up with that experience vibrationally? Does this make sense? Okay, I know I'm giving you a short answer to a long question because it's taken me a lifetime to learn this stuff. So I want to answer your question, but is that helpful too?
Very.
Because you can even talk to them and be like, well, let's see if we can make a connection with him. And I kind of even hear that's going to help you anyhow because you want to introduce it more to your kids.
Yes.
In a way that's palpable for them, that's exciting and fun to them. Okay, hope that's helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Do you want to ask some questions about your animals, or do you want to just do a meditation?
Anything?
This is your chance. If you came for a question about your animal. No?
I will ask a
Okay.
question about my animal. We went on vacation, returned this last week, and we had friends dog sit for us.
Yes.
For maybe. And we returned to maybe having pneumonia. I mean, she had a cough.
Yeah.
So she'd been perfectly fine.
Yeah. She probably healed the people who were sitting for her. But can you give me her name?
Whose name? The dog?
The dog.
Maybe.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's what I'm getting. That's accurate. So the woman or man or who sat for her in your house?
It was a friend's daughter and then the friend sometimes too.
Okay, the friend's first names only.
They didn't spend the night there, but, they were there like 4 or 5 times a day. Supposedly, that was the agreement.
So, but let me just tell you, what is bronchitis? What is that?
From heart.
Yes, okay, so when we're talking, this is what I forgot to say earlier, when we're talking about physical stuff, and this is part of like energetics, but we know this in this room. If you're in this room, you know this. What is this?
Kidney.
What?
Kidneys?
Base chakra, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
What area of the body does the base chakra address?
Sexual.
Hormones.
No?
Your butt.
Yeah, right here. What? I'm giving you the answer. What goes on in this part of the body?
Elimination.
Yeah. Connection to the earth. So this is where I like to poo-poo on doctors. Like what? You can tell me chakras don't exist? Are you gonna tell me that there's not a butt here? That there's not an anus? That there's not legs? This is an energy center. Okay, woo-woo chakra, fine, energy center, woo, but it's real. Whatever you wanna call it, it's real. And this, if this is not working, if this is blocked, you're gonna have issues here. Can't let go, can't walk, can't bend my knees. So if I'm blocked, now this here, what's this chakra? Sacral chakra, reproductive center. Now, if you don't want to believe it's a chakra, you cannot believe all you want. Doesn't make a difference. There's an energy center here. We use the word chakra. Nonetheless, there's stuff going on here. And if we're blocked here, if we're out of alignment with our creativity, with our feminine and masculine, with our ability to be sexual, sensual, to create, to receive.
Are you taking photos right now? You need to be. I'm just
But
saying.
I mean, okay, I'm not a shy person, but if this energy center is blocked, there's going to be health issues here. I don't know what launched me into this conversation. You were asking.
But can we have
Maybe.
a prayer to work on that chakra center particularly?
Okay, there is. Come tomorrow night because we're doing
Okay.
healing. But now this, what is this center?
So it's our blessing.
Okay, solar plexus. What does it control? I know, I'm in a southern area. Be forgiving of me because I'm from New York. You know, I just do what I do in LA. But yeah, okay, so what does this control here? I mean, you got a belly, you got digestion, you got intestines, large intestines, small intestines, you got a pancreas, you got a liver in there, you got kidneys back here. I mean, this is a whole center. So if a doctor wants to tell you that chakras don't exist or that energy centers don't exist, I mean, what do you call this if E equals MC squared? You believe in science, but you don't believe that this is an energy center? I don't understand that. So this belly center, if something's out of alignment, there's going to be a health issue. So coming here, if we got bronchitis going on here, what is this energy center? We've talked about it all night. Heart chakra, energy center of love. What is bronchitis? Moisture trapped. What is moisture trapped in the heart center of love? What is that?
What if you fear?
Sadness. What is moisture?
Tears.
Yes.
You're so smart.
Now, think about maybe you're gone. I want to ask you, in your life, trapped sadness. By the way, what is a body weight? I know, because I've worked on body weight my whole life. It is sometimes protection. It's trapped emotions. Sometimes we're so sensitive to put protection around us, but also sometimes we feel so sensitive. We feel emotions. We hold them in. Sadness in the heart could be repressed emotion. So it could be yours, but I'm hearing from maybe that it was partly related to your being gone, the sadness that you felt in the absence and the sadness, trapped, being trapped, maybe was a little trapped or felt trapped, or maybe you had felt trapped. I'm more logicking this part, but you might have felt trapped prior to your vacation that you needed so badly, and suddenly when you took that vacation, now it can be expressed. Does this make sense?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, because now I'm more not doing it so psychically as much as I am from the teacher, but nonetheless, that's what's going on here. Make sense?
Yeah, it made sense when you made the comment, maybe she was healing the sitter.
That's what I got more psychically in animal communication. But it still is linked into you somehow. That's why I'm also asking you. Because if it wasn't your frequency, it wouldn't really be possible. Like my dog's at home right now with my family, and I know when she is around them, there's one thing that changes a lot, is that she gains a lot more weight. And I always kind of yell at them and don't let him eat the crap food, because I give my dog all raw, organic superfoods, which by the way, you have to watch my video on YouTube if you're an animal lover. Superfoods for you and your pets, please watch it on YouTube. It's 15 minutes. It's everything you need to know about feeding your animals healthy and yourself. But nonetheless, that's the one thing that happens. They eat like gavons. I mean, in my brother's house, like gavon. And my brother said to me this weekend, she's always looking to eat. And I'm thinking, wow, that's how they are. But they don't know that they're like that. They're always looking to eat. So I know she's still picking it up from them. So they still do pick it up, but at the same time, there is a part of me that's kind of like working on my own weight issues. Still linked into me. I'm always like, I've been working on it. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's serving the greater good. So if an animal can help more beings, there's a higher consciousness working through that animal. This is the whole point. Animals are so much more neutral than we are. They're less in their left brain. They're more neutral. They're more aligned in the sense that they've got this, they've got this, they've got this. It's all open. There's a higher knowing of themselves that they're a little more connected to in a conscious way than we are in a sense. And then there's this other physical experience that they're having and they're working to assist it. How conscious of it are they? They're conscious of it to greater and lesser degrees just like we are. Make sense? Okay, is that helpful? By the way, what's this throat? What's this one? What's this chakra? Right, what does it control? Right. So teeth, tongue, mouth. And there's emotions that are linked in with all these too, obviously. This is like, I'm creative flowing, I'm sexy, I'm pretty. If I don't think that, there's going to be a block here. I can create. If I don't know how to let go of things, I'm anal retentive. I hold on to things. I don't know how to forgive. This could be a big issue. Here, if I'm overly sad or overly feel unloved, this could become a big issue. It's just all linked to our emotions and our thoughts. Make sense? Okay. Questions before we do our meditation? Because I think now we should go into it. Let me get here because I haven't gotten any questions here. Go ahead.
So what happened with your chakra if you can't conceive?
If you can't conceive, there's a block here. And it's linked here and here. And potentially, it's from another parallel lifetime. Past, parallel, potentially. Could have been brought in from another lifetime. A belief or a belief system in the consciousness that they might be unconscious about that now is linking into this area. Does that make sense?
So it's from past life?
Not necessarily, I didn't say that. I said it could be. Very often it is. It's a big issue. So you have to, that's part of the healer journey. As I'm working with a woman now she's 40 and she wants to conceive. So she has a belief system. What you're told over here in the mainstream, when you hit 40, you can't have a baby. Isn't that what we're told? So she's taken that belief on. Is that universally true? In other words, is that true for everyone, everywhere, no matter what? No! Because there's 45-year-old women, there's 50-year-old women having babies. So therefore it's not universally true, so therefore it's a belief system that can be changed. Can you understand? If you change the belief system, now the person can have a new experience. So, yes, she has a blockage here energetically, but it's linked into beliefs, emotions, feelings, vibration. Make sense? Okay. Did you want to ask?
Go ahead.
Oh, Mary.
I just want to ask one question. Intent. Can you very clearly state what intent is? Because I don't think that a lot of people understand how intent colors everything.
I mean, from my perspective, intention is a pure intention. I don't even know to me, I use the word intend and I know. There's nothing else. To me, intend is I know before it physically happens because I intend. That's how powerful intent is. So when you say, I intend to get to work on time tomorrow with time to spare, it happens. I intend, I say this all the time, I intend, practice this with your animals, I intend that my animal lives a long, strong, happy, healthy life for as long, strong, happy, and healthy as she possibly can in this body that she has now, in this lifetime that she's living now. You have so much power. Because intention is force. Intention is the force. Intention is creation. We're creators. The only time we can't use intention is if we're using it to surpass the law of free will. Intent, consent, and authority. That's the law of free will. So I can't intend something for you unless it's, well, there's other laws. The law of one in oneness, there's other aspects of the law. But nonetheless, I'm not allowed to intend for your free will. I can't control your free will because the law of free will intercept. That's her free will, that's not yours. But when you see with your animal companion, and there are other agreements, so contracts, agreements, all that stuff that happens, those cannot be overridden They can be with our intent, but we have to work with them somehow. We have to discern, we have to learn, we have to heal, we have to resolve, we have to fulfill the contract, fulfill whatever it is. But when you're working with intention with your animal, understand you have a contract with your animal that your animal has basically given you consent to make agreements for the animal. So when you say, I intend that my animal lives long, strong, happy, healthy life in his body this lifetime, for as long, strong, happy, and healthy as he possibly can, the sacred agreement is, oh, she's allowed to decide for her own animal. Therefore, that's what's going to be. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
If we only knew that, how much power we have. With intention. It's intention. This is where intention goes wonky, is we don't know. We believe something's not possible for us. And the intention, we can't even say it. If you look at something in your life where you really wanted something to happen, and you didn't believe it was possible for you, you'd sort of be like, well, I'd like to intend. I want to intend, but I don't know if I can have it. I don't know if that will work. Well, because you have a belief system in the way, something in the unconscious blocking you from that force of I intend. Because when I intend, I know. I know. The intention is knowing to me. But you're using the verbal conscious creation of your ability as a creator to intend it, and therefore you know. You won't say I intend until you know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that helpful? Okay, so I'm going to do a meditation now. How is this for everybody? Was this helpful for you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I will say, I am a glutton for gratitude. I've learned that the universe likes gratitude, and it really is true. And I also make donations, and I find in my life, if I don't donate and someone doesn't just say thanks, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. We're all learning gratitude. It feels really good to angels, and now I get it, because my life's really about offering this, and it feels good. So thank you. I like that you say it helps you. All right, so let's do a meditation. This time I'm going to lead you into a Theta Brainwave. And this isn't going to be as much of an animal communication, because, I teach this class over a weekend. We squished 3 hours, So please know, it's not like you walk out of this room being expert animal communicators, but the course is there if you want to go further. But what I would like to do is offer you the opportunity to experience the Theta Brainwave so you can sense that, and we'll let ourselves be guided through it. Because this will be at least about 15 minutes. So start getting yourself really comfortable. You're sitting up and your feet are on the ground. And at this moment, I want you to feel your feet on the ground. So just be aware, your feet are on the ground. You can feel your feet touching the ground beneath you. And your body, however it needs to move to be relaxed, start to relax it. So we're not floating anywhere or going anywhere, and we're not leaving our body, you're staying in your body. And start to take some deep, comfortable breaths in through your nose and down into your belly. Now, as you're breathing, I want you to let your eyes close and let the breaths slow down and get longer, deeper, slower, and richer. So they're just long, slow, deep, very comfortable breaths. And since the eyes are now closed, you can feel the breath. It's coming in through your nose. Feel it with your mind. And this breath goes from your nose to the center of your brain. You feel it as you breathe it in. Actually, somewhere inside of you is aware that there's a master glands in there. So let that breath go straight back to the master glands. Feel the breath go into the brain and sense it. However you sense it, there's no wrong way. You're filling up the brain with this breath. And it's slow and deep. So now the breath is coming down through the throat. It's opening the throat center as you breathe. Just long, slow, deep, comfortable breaths. Nothing magical here. And then breathe it down deeper into the heart, so the heart center expands with this breath. And it's comfortable for you. So you might exhale, even though I'm telling you you're just breathing it down. So you just breathe in a comfortable pace for you. As you're breathing this, identify the breath not so much anymore as oxygen, but as love. Because we know there's a frequency and energy of everything. So the frequency of oxygen that has fear is different from the frequency of oxygen that has love. So begin to identify the breath as love. You're just by your frequency breathing now love. There, nice shift right there. And actually heart center's expanding. Shifting out. So just breathe in that love. Okay, let's do it again now. You're just in your own pace, in through the nose. Feel the love. Go straight to the center of the brain. Feel, sense, see, perceive, whatever it is to you, no wrong way to do it. Center of the brain, beautiful love, going straight back into the cave of Brahman, filling up that cave of Brahman with love. Pineal gland, pituitary gland, feeling love. That's all, feel it. No right way, no wrong way, breathe love into the brain. Now feel with your mind, you're aware, feel it travel down from the brain into the throat. Love breathing in and through the throat. Deep, long, slow breath. Love now traveling down into the heart. Nice. Breathe love in, through, and around the heart center. All the chest, the mid, the upper back. Breathe love into the arms, just feeling it. Deep, slow, long breath. You exhale whenever you're ready, and then take a new breath and travel it down even deeper now into the belly. Love expanding the belly. In every direction, belly center, mid-back, liver, kidney, all the center, all of the parts of that body filling up with love. Stomach, pancreas, spleen, all filling up with love. Digestive canals, intestines. And now travel that love, another breath, long, slow, deep breath of love. Reproductive center filling up. You put all your mind's awareness, you're breathing, deep, long, slow, comfortable breath. Reproductive center fills up with love. Body just relaxes. Anywhere now, you're tense. You're just going to relax now because love lets you relax. Breathe some more love. Reproductive center now, travel the love. Down into the buttocks. Tailbone filling up with love. Anus, butt cheeks. And travel the love down. Beautiful breaths of this love. Deep, long, slow, rich, comfortable breath. Travel the love down now into the thighs. So you're just feeling this love. And you know, you feel light, but you feel fine. You're in your body. Travel it down now. No way to do it wrong. Feel the love travel into the knees. Feel your knees. Relax. Breath of love. Travel it down the calves. Just traveling love. Breathing love. Remembering there's no way to do it wrong. And breathe some more love into your ankles. You can feel your ankles. Both ankles filling up with love. Now feel the floor, the feet on the floor. Breathe love down into the floor. And now as if that love was an energy of its own, it's dropping down through the floor beneath you. And you're just still breathing love, but as this time you're extending this love way down to the core center of the earth. So it's like this energy love traveling through the floor beneath you, through rocks and dirt and minerals and sand and mud and more sand and now ocean. You don't even really see it because it's way, way deep down through ocean depths, through the ocean floor, way, way deep down, empty space inside of Earth. We don't even know what's in there. People living in there, crystals in there, and now you drop down till as deep down in the center of the Earth as you can, and there's crystals. Now you may see, sense, or feel this. Whatever it is fine. No way to do it wrong. Just wrap your love in the center of Mother Earth, also known as Gaia. We love Mother Earth. She loves us. And let that love now from the crystals in the core center of the Earth start to reverse direction. You met Mother Earth in love. No way to do it wrong, just breathing love. Now reverse that love. It starts to come back up through the center of the Earth, through the ocean floor, ocean depths, sand. Just still breathing lots and lots of love. Now it's coming back up. Rocks and minerals and dirt and mud and more minerals and rocks and dirt. Now it comes up through your feet. Breathe the love. Feel your feet breathing love. It's just love. Rise it up. Feel the love in your ankles. Feel it travel up once again in your calves. You haven't even gotten to the Theta Brainwave yet. You're just all peaceful. Travel up, up, up from the calves into the knees. No way to do it wrong. You're just breathing love, feeling love in your body. Simple. Travel it up from the knees into the thighs. Rise it up from the thighs into the buttocks. Feel love expanding in your buttocks. Breathe some more deep, rich, full breaths. Relax the body anywhere it needs to relax. Breathe it up into the reproductive center. Now rise it up into the belly center. Now rise it up, breathing deeper, richer, fuller, rising up into the heart center. Lots of love in, through, and around your heart. And now breathe up from the heart center into the throat. Just rise. No way to do it wrong. Absolutely perfectly right. Everything you do is exactly, precisely, exactly what it should be. Breathe some love into the throat. Just feel as you're breathing love. Now rise it back up to the center of the brain. Once again, the cave of Brahman, letting all your brain be filled with love. Opening, decalcifying, breathing love. Love decalcifies. Love expands. Love opens. Breathe that love through your whole brain. And as you're breathing this love, still releasing, relaxing, breathe some love to the very top of your brain. Now this is just under your scalp. You guys are already doing it. You're already there. Feel the love at the top of your brain under the scalp. Big breath of love, just feeling for the top of your brain under the scalp. You're still inside your body. Breathing love, top of the brain, there you go, nice. And you're going to notice in this space, just keep breathing love, top of the brain, under the scalp. And if you feel like you can't get it, you're there really. Just try again. Feel the top of the brain under the scalp. Simple. Breathe some more love in, top of the brain. Feel for the top of your brain under the scalp. And once you know you're there, because you feel a kind of strange tingling, you hear my voice, you're also zoned, you feel peaceful. If you think you're not there, go to the top of the brain under the scalp. Breathe some more love, but you're there. Now breathe some more love and reach for the ceiling. Just energetically, no way to do it wrong. Perfectly easy. Reach for the ceiling of the room. Reach beyond the ceiling. Now go towards the clouds. Now in your mind, you know what those clouds look like. You're not going to do it wrong. You're just breathing love and reaching energetically towards the clouds. Breathe some more love and reach beyond the clouds, beyond the stars, beyond the planets. Now my voice sounds a little like in the distance. Breathe some more love. Reach past the clouds, past the stars, past the planets, up through a void of the atmosphere, beyond the atmosphere. Reaching love, breathing love. Before you know it, some sort of lightness, window, door, expanded state, breathing love. Feels a little floaty, but you're still in your body. And this moment, that animal who you love, whoever he is, wherever he is, he, she, let him come into your awareness. It's fine. Notice whatever you notice, it's fine. Breathe some love. Be aware. Feel what you feel. Notice my voice. Notice whatever you notice. Just notice. Make notice of whatever you notice. You can hear the clock ticking. You might see that animal. You might get an awareness. You might just drop back down into your heart for a second, your heart center, and just send some love. Feel, breathe love. You've already done it. Feel and breathe some love and send it to that animal. Feel and breathe. And with your heart center, just energetically, no way to do it wrong, you know exactly how to do it. Send some love. Send that love like it's coming straight from your heart to that animal, going straight to that animal's heart. Notice what it feels like as you do it. And notice how you feel that love, almost like it's coming right back to you. Absolutely no way to do it wrong. Breathe some more love. And sit for just a moment. Let yourself hear, sense, see, feel, and be aware of whatever there is to be aware of. Just take note. Just consciousness expanding. And now in this moment, just remember that lightness you've been feeling, that void, that space beyond space, whatever it is, whatever it was, no need to label it, just to be aware. And just breathe some more love now. Reconnecting with that place, that space, that consciousness, whatever it is. And start to breathe it back down. You're coming back down, just being aware of yourself in this room now once again. Like as if you're floating above your own body in a way, but you never left your body. And then just bring that part of you back down into your brain. So once again, feel the top of the brain, underneath the scalp. Parts of the body relax again. And breathe some more love now into the center of the brain. Feel the love in the center of the brain as you breathe it, and it breathes you. And now travel that love back down into the throat center. Expand the love in every direction around the throat center. Teeth, mouth, tongues, base of the brain, throat. Breathe some love down, travel it into the heart center. Every direction, front of the heart, chest, breasts, arms, hands, fingers, upper back, spine. Traveling down now, the spine, the vagus nerve, into the belly, breathing love. It's almost like you don't even have to breathe anymore. You almost stop breathing because you're like, oh, all this love, breathing you. And yet you breathe some more, fill up the belly. All the middle organs of the body are filled with love as you breathe love in. And in the mid-back and around the back, kidneys. If there's an animal in your life now, whoever they are, bring them to mind. This is not animal communication. This is simple energetics. See them in your mind and breathe love from your belly and your heart. You're already there, and extend it to them. Send them some love. No way to do it wrong. Your heart to their heart. Your power center to their belly center. Send love. Breathe some deep love. Extend it out in your mind. See them. Expand it to them. There's no way to do it wrong. You're just sharing love. I give you a gift, you receive it. If you want to, you can take it. If you don't, you won't. It's fine. Let them have a choice. You just extend them love. See them in your mind. Breathe love to them. Heart to heart, belly to belly. Extension of love, like you're extending out a gift at Christmas. And then relax. As if it's been received, you let go. That's it. Now come back into your own belly. Breathe some more love. Travel it down into the reproductive center. Breathe some more love. Travel it down now. Feel the buttocks. Breathe some more love. And now once again, we're going to drop it down into the center of the earth. This time not through the legs, faster. Like a big light cord of love. From your tailbone, drop down, regrounding into Mother Earth. So, through the floor beneath you, through layers and layers of space, whether it's mud, dirt, rocks, minerals, sand, water, empty space, into the crystalline core. Wrap your love in and through Mother Earth. The crystalline energy knows exactly who you are. Consciousness of who you are is waiting there for you. Bring it back up now. Breathe. Mother Earth knows you. You know her. And this love is rising up. It's your energetic signature. Coming back up now. Once again, feel it in the buttocks. This time you're going to start to stretch the body because you need to be fully present in your form to drive home. So stretch out the feet, the toes, the ankles, the legs, whatever feels comfortable. Breathe some more love. Stretch out the buttocks. And in the reproductive center, stretch out the reproductive center, the hips, the waist. Breathe some more love. Rise it up into the heart center, stretching out the arms, the fingers, rising it up. Your face is stretching, your head is stretching, your neck is stretching. And before you really open your eyes, let's get these arms wrapped around your body, fully, totally embodied this love now.